Testing. Hello.
Testing.
Test.
Yeah. Clear to me.
Baby.
Ooh, baby.
Ooh, baby. La 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 la.
You've been moving some stuff around.
In here?
Ooh, one battle after another. Okay.
I've barely touched this room. I'm gonna be real with you. We've done a fair share of like reorganize. I mean, it doesn't look like it because it's been so hot and we just can't be bothered to do some things. But we've been doing a fair share of like reorganizing.
Yeah.
And this room is like one of the few rooms that we've barely touched. There she is.
Hey.
There's Piper. All right, I got a sick quote. Very standout. You ready for this?
Oh my God, yeah, I didn't even think about the quotes from the poll. Okay.
Oh, come on, girls. Wait till you see how modern it is. And they even have the Neon Crew podcast. Come on.
Yes. Awesome.
One of the most, riveting quotes from one of the two movies we're going to be talking about. Two movies that are just like packed to the brim with dialogue and just like back and forth. Things that really kind of like stick in your craw, you know?
Yes.
There's a lot of commonalities, strangely, between Minions and Monsters and Playtime.
I was cracking up when I was watching Playtime last night. Like, it's weird that there's some crossover between these two films.
And varying qualities, I would say.
Agreed.
But, we'll get into it. Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 122 of the Neon Crew podcast. My name is Kyle.
I'm McLean.
It's probably going to be a bit of a shorter one, I would say. Mac and I were texting a bit before he came over, and I think we both kind of have the sentiment of, like, we're looking forward to talking about these movies.
Always.
I always have a great time when we get to hop on here and just shoot the shit. It's a great excuse to see my good friend.
Yes, and talk some films.
Yeah. Every once in a while, I feel like we will cover a film or a set of films that is almost intimidating in that I have to ask the question, how much is there going to be to talk about?
Yes, meat on the bone.
Meat on the bone and just like general interest. We'll get to it when we talk about Playtime, but it was one of those films that was a bit difficult for me to entirely engage with. Yeah. I think part of that is just like kind of the general situation that I found myself in this week, and just like the weather and all of
you that don't know, it's been 95 for 4 straight days, and Kyle doesn't have central AC, and his house heats up like a tinderbox.
And we live in West Michigan, so we are kind of like soft little stupid boys when it comes to the hot weather.
Yes.
Anytime it gets below, or I should say above 80 degrees, we start to panic.
Melt.
Yeah. Which, shout out to your shirt, by the way.
Hell yeah.
I think I'm going to take a picture of that later and post it onto the episode on YouTube.
Thank you for anyone that's listening that may be my wife. That's another person that said, great shirt. So compliments keep coming in with it. Dude, I love it.
Getting compliments from people, especially people you don't know, feels great.
I've had multiple people come up and compliment me. When we were on the honeymoon, I wore this, and I remember I put it on. Jasmine's like, "You're wearing that?" I was like, "People like this shirt."
That's
and
rough.
I know, right? And she's the sweetest person ever. So like that kind of that stung to the point where I was like, "I'm gonna be vindictive," and we're gonna figure out.
It's coming from your person.
That day alone, I think I had 3 or 4 people compliment, like strangers on the just walking by, like, "Hey, nice shirt,"
Speaking of French, there's a reason I have the mustache that I do.
Okay.
It's very like bold and brash, and it's one of those things where if I shave my beard and keep the stash, Megan's a little apprehensive. She's like, kind of like it better with the full set. And then I go out and people are like, "Hey, dude, sweet stash." And I look at Megan and I say, "This is why I can never get rid of it. It is my gift and my curse."
Yeah.
It's,
same with the shirt.
Absolutely. 2 totally comparable things.
Yeah.
Well, speaking of comparable, maybe in this next discussion, we can compare Minions and Monsters to one another. Not as many monster things as I was expecting in this movie. And, we'll get into it after you give us a lovely summation, my boy.
All right. So we have 2026 Minions and Monsters. PG film. It's about 90 minutes long. It's about probably 89 minutes longer than it should be.
Absolutely.
Directed by Pierre Coffin and one other.
Pierre Coffin.
Patrick Delage?
I think so. Although
Okay.
Wikipedia only credits Pierre Coffin as the director, even though I know from reading about the production that he's co-director with Patrick Delage is the name.
Okay. So this is so Pierre Coffin stars as the Minions, the other 50 of them. Trey Parker is Goomy, which I saw his name attached because it's Trey Parker, Matt Stone, South Park, right?
Yeah.
So I don't know how Trey Parker is affiliated with this thing,
Trey Parker is in Despicable Me 3 as the villain.
and that's how he get roped into. He must have
But
just either this was a gravy train,
Yeah,
or
he's a different character in the other film.
Okay.
From what I understand.
Good for you.
Full transparency, this is the only Despicable Me
Same here.
/ Minions movie I've seen.
we that yep.
You're going to get a unique perspective, folks.
Trey Parker, Allison Janney as Olivia, George Lucas as himself, Christopher Waltz as Max, Jeff Bridges. Oh, so he did play Frank and Elwood. The Dort. Were they the
Dort?
No, they were it wasn't the brothers, the Wright brothers.
The Elwood, the Bright brothers.
Bright, yes. Dort is Jesse Eisenberg. Oh, okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Zoe Douche is Debbie, and then
Zoe Douche? I think it's Deutsch.
Deutsch. I don't know. I saw Zoe, and I was thinking to someone completely else, and then a bunch of random people in here that I'm just not going to go through and read. So, so this is Minions and Monsters. I have not seen any of them. I have a hard time between Despicable Me and Minions. I don't know how many Minions. I heard this is the fourth one.
So this is technically the third Minions standalone movie.
So both there's 6 of them together.
Yes, so Despicable Me has 4 entries in it, and then the Minions have 3.
Oh.
Minions coming out in 2015. Minions Rise of Gru, which is all backstory of Gru, came out in 2022, I believe, and then this one coming out this year. So
Nice.
Despite how popular and ubiquitous the Minions are at this point, there's only 3 Minion-centric movies
Yeah,
that
but
have
they're
come out
in all
pretty sporadically.
Other ones. So
But yes, they are also in Despicable Me. So that's something we can discuss maybe a little bit.
Hold on. We're in the. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask if you were finished summating the movie.
I can be. Like this is. The movie starts out and you find out it's a field trip class going through Hollywood, and they're going to find out about how the Minions changed Hollywood and who they are.
Very
And
strange framing for this type of film. I
Yep.
feel like. I feel like the marketing was hinged on just like kind of the surface level idea of, oh, the wacky Minions are going to be interacting with like different creatures, and it's going to be like a fun visual time, and it I guess is kind of that, but also not really.
Not really. It's. I don't know. I guess I have such a hard time with this. There are movies that come out, and obviously few and far between, where I did not get on the franchise and I just don't pay attention. Mm-hmm. Despicable Me, the friggin' Minions, and all this Minion stuff that goes on with it. I didn't get it. I don't get it. Maybe I'm just geriatric, but I couldn't, like I said, I couldn't tell you how many of these there are, these movies. I see them, they come out, and I'm like, oh, there's another one. And I think I just go, that's number 2 every time.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, I know that there's an origin, and then after that I don't care. So I haven't seen any I didn't see anything on this. Just so everyone's aware, Preston's up in town, and one of the requests, as he was coming up, is that he really wanted to see this movie. And it's kind of chaotic scheduling with trying to get out to other movies with this going on. So I knew that we were going to see this. So I asked Kyle, I said, hey, can we push back a couple days? I'm going to take P to see this. And I don't want to throw another thing in there where I have to leave the house at night because it's just frenetic. And, Kyle's like, cool. So I had no idea. I was kind of hoping that I was like, maybe this would be something good. I don't really know much about this. I've seen like probably what I could classify as Despicable Me in its entirety. Mm-hmm. I have no idea. So I hadn't seen anything on this. I'd seen the poster once, maybe.
Yeah.
And I just thought, cool, they're gonna team up or take down a monster, I guess. And thinking there'd be a little bit more behind it. And we'll talk about it. So I took Preston and his nephew, or my nephew, to the movie, and we sat down and we watched it for 90 minutes. And that's the summation that I have. So spoilers for Minions and Monsters.
I'm imagining the gif of Homelander in the movie theater, just kind of like dead staring at the screen, not really like taking in the movie, having other things on his mind. Yeah, just like the tinnitus setting in.
I love that gif so much.
It's a great gif that is like universal shorthand for that exact feeling. Oh, yeah. And the feeling that I had watching this movie. So I'm going to I'm going to provide a little bit more context too. So before you had kind of, told me about like, how busy you were and how like you had limited time and Preston was up and he really honed in on Minions. I think I had texted you a list of 5 different movies.
Yep.
And I'm going to list them now. And I said, here's some theater movies we could do with PlayTime. Masters of the Universe. Mm-hmm. Scary Movie. Could touch on how, potentially awful that thing could be. Supergirl. Maybe give some context as to like, because we didn't officially cover the Superman movie, but I'm pretty sure we both saw it.
Yeah. Something along those lines where we kind of both.
Yeah. The Death of Robin Hood. Which
Ridley
I did.
Scott, right?
No, it's Michael Sarnowski, the same guy who did Pig with Nicolas Cage.
Oh, okay.
And then Toy Story 5.
Yep.
Which would have made me catch up with the franchise because I still haven't seen Toy Story 4. But, a decent list of movies, one of them including an animated kids film.
Yep.
And can you just tell people what your son's response was when you brought up Toy Story 5?
So we had yeah, I'll tell you the state of his mind. We had we were trying to put on a kid friendly film, and we were going through Disney, and so funny enough, like you sent me that list, and I think it was Friday I think you sent me the list on Thursday, maybe.
It was a Wednesday.
Yep. Okay, so on Friday we were trying to find a kid-friendly film, and or no, maybe it was Saturday because him and my nephew were both over.
Yeah, because I said let me know by Saturday, and then I texted you like, "Hey, what's the update?"
Yeah, and they both were there, and we were kind of throwing on. I was going through some kid film, and so Toy Story popped up, and I was like, well, this is gonna be a good pulse check. So I'm like, hey guys, like I'm just gonna throw on Toy Story 4. And they're like, oh, what? And I was like, oh, it's a good film. And they're like, no, we don't want it. I was like, okay, like we're putting it on. And then it turned, hey, Preston, Toy Story 5's out. Do you want to check that out in theaters? And he looked at me dead ass and said, no, Dad, that's a kid's movie. And then I said, okay, well, do you still want to see Minions and Monsters then? He said, yeah.
Minions is for the real men, okay,
yeah,
Mac?
Yeah, don't get it twisted, Pops.
Don't you remember the trend when young men were going to see Minions in theater with suits and ties? Doing...
Oh, yeah, that was like 2 or 3 years ago, wasn't it?
Doing the best to be on their best behavior in the movie theater. Absolutely just a perfect time to be a theater goer. To see a nice, wholesome family film.
Yep.
Not problematic in any way. But
no.
Yes, that was a trend for Minions Rise of Gru. A movie that I think was one of the only films in the franchise to reach $1 billion besides, I think, Despicable Me 3. Yeah. These movies are highly successful. There's a reason why they keep churning them out. There's a reason why they keep making them.
Oh, well, yeah. That's why I said the gravy train. Trey Parker was like, dude, I'll stay around.
Right. And it's we're pretty transparent in disclosing the fact that this is the only one in the franchise we've seen. Obviously, we don't have much context for the previous films themselves, but I think we have plenty of context for people's reception of them and their expectations. The fact that this is from Illumination, a company that I have a fair amount of mixed feelings on when it comes to the Mario movies, and I feel like my thoughts going into this was, okay, these movies have a reputation of kids love them, they love the Minions, it's a very surface level appreciation for something that has stuck around and has been so popular for so long, and that these movies have like little to no substance in them, and I'm not going to have a great time.
Yep.
And I went into it hoping that I could, at least keep like an open mind, take it for what it is, watch this movie on its own merit. What I did not anticipate also, and this had a little bit to do with my frustrations at the time, was I got an early screening ticket. It was the only time available for it on Monday, 2 days before the movie's official release date at 6 o'clock. And so I go in and I get my ticket, and I'm about to walk away when the girl behind the counter goes, "Oh, and here are your glasses." And she puts them on the counter. And I'm thinking to myself, what? The online, unless it was like absolutely just like a drug fueled stupor into getting my ticket, I didn't see where it said 3D showing online when I got it. It may
have been just for early release, and it was like maybe advertised that way without it being officially online. Like, that's the only thing I could think of, is that that it's going to be 3D going into this. Like, no one's buying a ticket cold off the streets. Like, I'm going to see my first Minion movie.
Right. There's not many freaks like me who are going to see it by themselves.
Threw me off when you're like, I got early access. I was like, all right, knock it out, dude.
Mac, I truly just wanted to get it out of the way. I wanted to just let's rip the bandage off.
Yeah.
I'm watching Minions first thing. I'm going to save playtime for later, which I also have my own unique experience with that. But I'll get into that later. And so I go in and I sit down and I put my 3D glasses on like the stupid little idiot boy I am.
Here we go.
And I'm not joking when I say this. I feel like the 3D was maybe one of the better parts of a film that I was watching that I just let completely glaze over me.
Yep.
Like maybe the first 20 minutes I was like sort of trying to like engage with the movie in a way that's like I want to extrapolate more from this. After that point, I was just checked out. Yeah. I was just completely out of it.
Yes.
I was still actively like trying to absorb what was happening, but in a way where I'm thinking to myself, I know that this isn't going to get better. I know that this is not going to improve. The experience is not going to jump up in quality. And sure as shit, it did not. Yeah. I did not like this movie. It fully met my expectations of dirt level. And I shouldn't be surprised that I go in and out of a Minions movie and I just completely think of it as turbo trash.
Yeah, I'll preface this too, Preston. If you're listening, or if you ever do listen to this, I love you. I was very happy to bring you into that movie theater, and I'm glad you had a great time.
I'm glad he had a great time,
and as well as our precious nephew that accompanied us. I'm really happy that they were laughing the whole time and thought it was. Actually, they weren't, which was kind of concerning.
Right.
But they said they had a good time and they liked the film. So whatever I say is my opinion on it. I love you. Yes. I went through, so today we were doing like a business meeting type deal with our department, and just like, now how enthralling does this sound, right? Like we're going through and we're trying to come up with some things for the next quarter and whatnot. And I think 30 minutes into this thing, I was thinking about what I was going to talk about today, to the point where there were pockets of time where I miss like just things happening, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, I saw the whole film, so it's like it's just one of those things where I'm like, man, I'm checking out. I'm not even thinking about this. I'm literally, my eyes are on the screen, but I'm not inputting any of this. And I just went. I went periods of that throughout this thing, and I was yawning. I was concerned I was going to fall asleep, and it's a weird. I think this is like groupthink, where because it's had success, you have to like it.
Like this idea of like bought in appreciation, like almost like a sense of like Stockholm syndrome or like sunk cost fallacy.
Yeah,
like, I am so invested in this as a franchise that I have to like it. Yeah, right. Like I have to extrapolate something from
the Marvel movies. Like when they started turning to poo poo, when people would be like defending, Love and Thunder or whatever, right? And they would, sit there and it's like, I know you're 40 films into it, but like we can get to a point where it's okay to say it's not good.
Yeah.
The reason why I'm saying this is because I'm watching this and got the kids popcorn and all that. I mean, it's a $50 freaking experience, right? And I'm just like, hopefully it's worth it. Like, hopefully I just paid $50 for a core memory. And for the kids, I did for sure because they ended up hanging out afterwards. Preston did a sleepover. Like it was a whole day, and I'm so happy for that. But like for me, no, I might as well. Moonlight or Moonfall came to mind every time I'm sitting there watching this. I was like, this is just money I'm never gonna get back.
Moonfall, I think, did create a core memory for you, just a horribly negative core memory.
Let's think about this. Every time that I spend money now, when I watch these things, and I'm like, is this worth the $14? I think of that movie.
Yeah, that's more of like a canon event at that point.
Yeah, I mean, this is, it's actually triggered philosophical debates in my head. But the reason why I bring it up is because I keep looking over at them and. Preston, they eat all this popcorn and Preston's drinking a sugary drink. So he's telling me that he's hungry. And I'm like, I just wanted to be like, bro, that's not hunger. That's literally you filling up with sugar and sodium that your stomach's collapsing. Like, I'm not getting. And then the answer to that is I want to get some candy. Mm-hmm. And then that's not the answer. But they laughed maybe 10 total times. Like for a movie that is so ingrained that it's going to be wholesome and funny and rompous and all, like, and I'm like
back-to-back gags, just pure visual shenanigans happening.
Yes,
slapstick up the ass,
right? And nothing. And then I'm watching it and I just keep looking over and I'm just thinking like, this is what you wanted. You better be enjoying yourself. It
is. It's the same exact thing with the Mario Galaxy movie, a movie that we pointedly did not cover. Because I feel if we did, I would have an aneurysm mid-record.
The trailer looks a lot more like, hey, we're going to go the wrong way with what we did in the first one to appeal to more people.
Mac, truly, and if I can do a quick side tangent of that film, it honed in on the exact wrong things that were present in the first film. The only thing that they improved on in Mario Galaxy was that they didn't have nearly as much licensed music. They actually did choose to go with a score, a score that replicated the Mario soundscape.
Yep.
And that was the only thing otherwise it's mostly just jangling keys the movie with the most threadbare, not even plot, just like you're watching characters go from point A to point B with little thread that relates to one another in a sequence of events that I can only call. What if you took all the Mario games and mixed them in a blender and spit inside the jar? That is what I would describe as Mario Galaxy.
I am so concerned about movies going forward because this is ADD fuel. These films are a lot of cuts, a lot of bubbliness, bright
colors,
man, and there's there's a million of them, so it's just eye candy. So your eyes are always moving and. These kids' movies, I'm feeling are getting away from what Pixar did so well with the storytelling and a lot of deeper meaning or messaging behind it to make you really kind of as a young, growing up, think about life a little differently, right? Not necessarily to the extent you have an existential crisis, but enough to be oh wow, that kind of made me feel a different way. These movies, and I think it sounds like the same thing with the Mario movie, is that it's literally just what, we'll just make them really shitty, but let's just have things going everywhere a million miles an hour that are bright and have some sort of IP that kids can attach to, and that's it. We'll be able to create 50 of them and they won't stop coming. And it's Good Luck, Have Fun, Don't Die, where they're just staring at their screens, and become zombies. That's and then you get done with it, and it's was that good? It's yes. It's how? What? I didn't get into it with Mama. I wanted to be you guys tell me what I missed, because you also didn't look like you were having a romp-roaring time.
I feel like it is almost the same exact effect with this movie and Mario Galaxy movie.
Illumination. Okay, so we're against Illumination then.
I think this is going to just be a greater discussion of Illumination as an animation company and the bankruptcy of what we would maybe try to find value out of of films like this, where I feel like kids who watch these movies, and I'm glad that they can have fun. I'm glad that they go in, they come out, they have an enjoyable experience that's valuable to them.
It's not for us.
I feel like it is the same exact thing that my dad went through when he went on a roller coaster with me when I was 15 and he was 45. Where, we went to Dollywood, we got on one of the bigger coasters, and my dad's already feeling the hurt because it's super expensive as fuck there.
Yep.
And he's just coming off of quitting smoking, so he's already irritated. And we get on a roller coaster, and I'm having fun. I'm having a good time, swaying around, going fast, making the turns. And I look over to my dad, and he's holding on for dear life, tears in his eyes, red in the face, trying not to pass out at the level of pain and discomfort he is in.
Yes.
Sitting on this roller coaster, like waiting for it to be done. And I feel like parents who go and see this movie with their kids almost have a similar feeling to going on a roller coaster with your son.
Dude.
Like, you're glad that your kid had a good time, but you come out of it a changed man, saying never again, that's the last time. Because
I'm gonna try to, like, it'll be where I won't stop him, but I'll try to dissuade him. But I can. The funny thing is,
it's like when you pass a toy store and you just try to shield their eyes. It's like, no, there's nothing in there.
It depending on the kid, right? Depending on the kid, because you're gonna have, Anyways, this is what I will say though, and this is what I don't get. There was a family of 3 sitting next to us. They're a couple rows down. Now, mind you, the theater, I was afraid that it was going to be jam-packed because, like you said, billions of dollars, kids. And I'm like, fuck. I'm like 5:15 on a Wednesday. Like, probably won't be that bad. And it wasn't. It wasn't. There's space. But, like, the movie's going on, and there is a total of 2 people that sounded engaged. Do you know the ages?
I'm gonna guess they were. Are they 2 distinctly different ages?
I can't tell you. You just got to give a guess.
All right. I'm gonna guess one of them was 7, and the other one was like 58.
Yes.
Really?
Yeah. It was like it might have been a 3 or a 4-year-old that would be like, at certain points would exclaim stuff, And I'm like, I love that, because if I took Will to this thing and she was doing that, I don't think I'm not showing her shit like this. Because I'm telling you, like, this warps your brain. Like, I was getting dizzy at points watching this thing, and I'm like, this is a nightmare for.
Dude, imagine it in 3D.
No, that's why I can't. I'm not going to. And so she would, like, you'd hear this girl like, oh no, like, just, and I'm like, I'm glad she's having a good time. The problem I had was the gentleman that was a couple seats down would just, like, blurt out laughing and, like, slap his knee and go like, oh my God, he hit his butt, like, and I'm like, just thinking, like, what age are you at emotionally right now?
Right. What's the standard for what you find the most hilarious thing on the planet?
Yes.
And like, if it's as low as a minion getting hit in the head with a shovel, then I guess good for you, man.
Hey, once again, I'm not going to pull anyone away from having a good time. Like, you will. I wish I was laughing like that, dude. There was a couple points actually I was questioning myself, and I'm like, is me just sitting here bringing these 2 down?
Am I bringing the negative energy? Am I being the sourpuss that's like ruining this for people?
Like, I want, like, and I think I had a couple chuckles here and there where I was like, and it was genuine, because at points I was trying to smile or like laugh or something, and it was like nothing would come out. And and I was sitting there, like, that guy's down, and I was like, but then I'm like, I don't hear his daughter, because it was a family of 3, and they might have been grandparents. I don't know. But I'm like, I don't hear the little girl doing anything. So I was like, who's getting the enjoyment out of this? And mind you, the movie's going on too. So this is where my thoughts are at.
Yeah.
Like, I'm a lot of discussion.
This movie it forces you to get real philosophical with yourself and your place in this film.
You're just your environment. You're hearing other people, and you're like, your
relationship with other folks. Yeah.
Well, and then it's like, do I approach this guy after this and, like, 2 questions? 1, let me hear your filmography. 2, did you really find it that enjoyable?
Right. When a movie makes you ask, is there something wrong with me? It's really an interesting way to approach it.
Oh my God.
So this movie is just, it's weird, because I went into this, and I teased this earlier, but I went into this thinking, this is just going to be like just some goopy key jangling experience with the minions interacting with, like, multiple different monster designs and, like, creatures and stuff like that.
It's going to make it worse.
It's weirdly about the magic of the movies.
Yes.
And old Hollywood, and
yes,
like back in, like, the 1920s, being established as this, like, forefront of industry.
Yep.
And told through the lens of the fucking minions and how they're like trying to find a new boss, and they end up in good old Hollywood land, as it was referred to back then. And it's going on, and I'm like, this is the framing device in which they're telling this story of like these little yellow Tic Tac fuckers who like children just can't get enough of. I'm thinking to myself, like, how many kids are going to appreciate the plethora of old Hollywood references that are strewn throughout this thing? Like, how many kids are going to have an appreciation for, like, The Day the Earth Stood Still and fucking Charlie Chaplin and, like, the old Train movie? Like, it was just kind of baffling to me how that was used in this movie and how just kind of cheaply it was made to be like just like a point of reference. It treated it the same way that Mario Galaxy treats the video games.
Yeah, I won't. I'm going to do a devil's advocate with it, and there will be probably maybe a couple things that we discussed where I'm actually just doing it to do it because I agree. But I think from this, and I will give salutes to the director if they were trying to aspire some curiosity with that, where it's like, hey, film's dying. We're going to get this young generation of people in here. Let's get them questioning or asking, hey, what was that, or why was that in here, or what's this about, know? And they do a couple things where they kind of give you a little bit about the history of it, done in a very cheap and fun manner. Like, we introduce microphones, we move from, these still pictures that are kind of just moving at a fast rate, and now we get some film in here. Like, it's not very educational, but I will say it could provide some curiosity with some of our younger audience members.
I guess I might push back on that a little bit, just because I feel like the way that this movie uses it almost feels like Illumination is sort of like propping themselves up as sort of saying, look at how knowledgeable we are about the film industry and like the history of that. Like, we love movies as much as you guys do, and so we're going to show that as like, we're hoping that this comes across as like a love letter to cinema. And with the slapstick surface level nature of the minions themselves and just how they exist in this movie, I don't really buy into it.
I'm not. Listen.
Yeah.
These are very shallow remarks, and I'm just trying to cause some conversation.
You're trying to find some faint praise. You're grasping there.
And that's where I was like, all right. For me, I was like, I can kind of see that. I really don't believe it because of how like. I just feel like they're preying on kids that have. It's people that are like reels. Like, when we found out, hey, YouTube, we could put videos on there and people watch it, and then it's like, well, if you segment them, we can skip to our point. Or how about this? Let's just get a 3-minute like cut scene every 5 seconds of doing different things, and now we have reels, and reels pop up and they're 30 seconds, and you'll get the general content or context of what's being discussed, and it's just how do we keep managing to capture the brain of someone, and this feels very much of that ilk. So I mean, I'm with you on it. It feels very cheaply done, and I don't know if it's even patting themselves on the back. I think it's just more of like a plot device or a movie device.
Yeah, I guess like knowing Illumination, it almost feels like a little self-congratulatory. Yeah, especially when I've seen like premiere footage or like interview video of Chris Meledandri, who's like I think the president of Illumination, talking specifically about the Mario Galaxy movie and how like the way he presents it, it's almost as if he is pandering to this sense of like Mario pride of like, yeah, we have all the right images and references, and Mario fans are sure to relax because they're going to enjoy the authentic Mario movie experience. Yeah. And it's like you're talking about this as if you're not like an artist, you're just like a street huckster who's like trying to sell me on like this thing that you've cobbled together.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. I'm going to say that. I mean, it felt kind of icky just being in there and being like, one, my son loves this or likes this enough that he wants to, like, I'm not going to get into the conversation of you're wrong,
right?
So
re-education program initiated.
Like, it's more of like, let's watch some good films, we'll cleanse that.
Right.
I did It did humor me though. So like the whole piece with the minions, they have to find the baddest boss, right? Like I think they were like, we have to find the most evil person and we'll service them, but like there's hijinks involved, so we'll end up taking them down. Which
they'll service them, they'll suck them off.
Yeah, well, it's a kids movie, Kyle. God.
Oh, sorry, my bad.
Popping this. Yeah, that's a poor choice of words.
I love it.
So, but I was like, is this like maybe I'm reading too far into this, but they end up in Hollywood with some, the producers, and it's like they are working for them. So I was like, is this kind of them tongue-in-cheek, pointing at Hollywood and some of the brass in Hollywood, or maybe the old guard that they're, like, hey, it used to be this is how it was, and these are the worst people, and this is kind of like it's almost like
Barbarian. They even have a reference to, or not Barbarian, Babylon.
Yeah.
They even reference Babylon in the movie with like the party and the elephants and like the music. In like the mansion.
Is it the movie Babylon, or is there a specific event?
The movie Babylon.
Yeah, I've not seen it yet.
Interesting. I feel like if you like want to read more into this movie, you could see like a Babylon analogy there, where it's like we love the movies and the magic of them, but also they were kind of shitty at the time, like the way they treated people and exploitation, blah blah blah.
And it feels kind of that like they're. That's what I'm saying. Like, this thing's everywhere because it does feel like they're trying to address it, but also make fun of it. Like, I hate to say it, but it feels like this guy's got his hands on my balls and he's just squeezing them whenever he wants, going like, hey, like, this is good, this is bad, this is good, this is bad. And it's like, ultimately, you're just in control of how I'm feeling.
Yeah.
And you're not really saying anything. It makes it almost more so feel like you're the puppet master and I'm a puppet.
All of this to just like evoke a general feeling of temperature one way or another towards a movie. Like the most simple kind of surface level reaction you can get from an audience. Yeah. Whether or not like you're warm on it, like the 58-year-old man who was just hooting and hollering in your showing, or you're cold on it, which was probably the majority of the people I went to the screening with, even including the children, who were
that's
like,
what I'm saying,
had a very similar reaction to the way your son and nephew did, where they're watching the movie and they're like laughing at certain points.
Yes.
It is not like a constant thing.
That's why I think this movie sucks, is because it's 90 minutes of gibberish, and it's like, well, if you're doing that shit, you better fucking make me laugh, and you're not even like. It's kids, it's slapsticky kids humor, but also we have to play to the 4-year-olds. So even the older ones, like it's going to be probably a little too kiddish for them, right? And then it's like you get done with it, and I bet if you surveyed people, they go, "Yeah, I liked it," and it's like, why? What?
Right? Can you expand on this, please?
What was in there that you're going to take away from this?
Yeah.
Like, and that ultimately for me, that's where I'm at, is like outside of like Diary of the Mouth right now and just being like, this thing sucked. I don't know if in a year from now you're like Minions and Monsters, like I'm going to be able to recant everything. Like I'll know I've seen it because it was a good day. But outside of that, from the movie itself, like, no, there is nothing redeemable in here. It's the messaging's so weird, and then these fucking minions, they only speak gibberish. So the people with dialogue in here are like guiding you with like what they're saying, and if they're gonna be doing that for an hour, they better have some funny points with it, not just gibberish. The whole, like the intro, the exposition with it, right, where they're all, it's literally just the minions and old timey with these bosses that only say like one or two things. And I think that took 20 minutes before they kind of got into Hollywood and set up like the first act. And
right, it's kind of quizzical of like, just where is this going? It's kind of indiscernible how, like you just do not know the movie's next move.
And it's like and at that point it's like I all right, we kind of know like what's happening, but there's just no plot, and these things aren't funny, and we don't know what they're saying, and this shit is just like kiddishly cartoonish to the point where I'm like, I could see but I'm not like, I would never let a 3-year-old watch this thing and be like, hey, sit down and check this out, because you know what's going to happen? They're like, let's watch another one and another one and another one, and the next thing you know, they love it, but it's like there's nothing redeemable about it.
Do you think that there's a version of this movie that would be better? I'm not saying good, but better.
No. Yes.
If it was simply like the first 20 minutes the whole time, where it's just them going through different time periods with different bosses, and like how like more vignette-y that could be.
No,
just like
I would almost argue that if they would have found some. So here's the rub too.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. I'm not gonna bullshit it. You fucking make it a monster movie. You better have a goddamn monster in there that's like, okay, that's kind of scary, or at least something that you're like, whoa, like this is intimidating, right? They subvert expectations with the one guy that pops up that's supposed to be the most evil thing, and I'm like, why are we doing this? Why does this thing have to be like, hey, it's cute and cuddly, but it's also evil? Not even sardonic, just evil, right? Not to the point where you're like, oh, this is really, really, really and scary. Something bad's going to happen. I mean, it's just cartoonish. And so I'm like, hone in on the monster element, find something scary, and then put some stakes involved with them having to stop this thing. Because you know exactly where it's going, and then they get this like amorphous blob out there that's just got a bunch of eyes, so there's nothing really daunting about it. And it's just moving through the town, and you know that some shit's going to happen where they save the day, but there's like literally no stakes, to the point where that's how they have to end the film.
No stakes, and the premise of the title, I feel like, doesn't actually kick in or have a presence in this movie until like what, an hour in?
Never, because they're not really monsters.
And then
like
on top of that, it really doesn't deliver in the fact that there's only like 4 of them. There's Goomy, who's like the main villain, who they, they summon.
Yeah.
I guess 5 if you include the one with the fucking wizard when they like have the bunny hopping around, but that's whatever. That's like a blip in the movie's runtime. Goomy, who's like the Cthulhu, like green, like blobby headed guy who's like really fucking annoying, and then like his 2 dumbass friends who he has to unthaw from the frozen ice so that they can like plot to summon Irene, I guess is the name.
Yeah.
Which is just like you said, this big blobby eye monster that I feel like is supposed to evoke the sort of like what's that movie that's like inspired by the Red Scare? Is it just called The Blob? Yeah, I feel like it's supposed to evoke like a sense of that, because this movie's like caked with like surface level old timey movie references.
Pre-1950s, because I couldn't tell you if it's just 1930s, like the day that Earth stood still. I thought that was in the 40s or 50s. Like when Dork came around, I was like, all right, I think we hit 1950s realm.
I think something like that. It's all over the map in terms of that sort of thing, but whatever.
Yeah.
Least of my issues with this thing.
Oh yeah.
And I feel like it's trying to have like the most surface level fun while raising the stakes of a potential like story with characters and like this dynamic of like, oh, James and Henry, they're working together, and James wants to just like make his dream come true and like win an Oscar, and it's like the most basic bare ass shit of just like no character.
They're one dimensional. There's no attachment that you feel. There's supposed to be some sort of. This is what I'm saying. This is designed for kids that are probably between the ages of like 3 and 7, right? And then you get above that, and then like if you're between 7 and 11, like
3 and 7 who are watching a movie that includes a beheading, by the way.
We'll get to like the what the fuck were they thinking, because like we just went so calm as possible, and then we're just gonna chop off someone's head.
Mm-hmm.
And they got these death scenes that like they're like we'll just make them funny, like it's just gonna be funny that they die, and
right.
I'm like,
the shock of it is gonna evoke enough of a reaction to like latch onto.
Yeah, and like to me it also feels careless, because it's like you're gonna see something that's kind of like a beheading, right? That is things that happened or could happen, and we're just going to glance on by it. Like, we're not going to really care about your emotional state once you see it, because the next one's going to happen, and hopefully it's funny enough to maybe the parents like it, or the kids kind of go, whoa, that was so funny, and then that's it. But then it's also like, man, some graphic shit right there. Like, you just beheaded someone.
Can I show you my reaction to when that happened?
Yeah.
I went like this.
Yeah, same here.
Eyes wide, leaning in.
Yeah.
Obviously, you guys can't see me, but that is basically the result of an old woman getting decapitated in this movie, which we are not joking, takes place.
Yeah, and it was like excuse me? Like, I looked at that and I was like, is this thing turning the tide here or what? Because they just do it, and then it's the next one, a guy gets squished by a panda, and I'm like, Oh, okay. So we're just gonna kill people and just kind of just keep moving by because it's supposed to be funny. It's not really like that big of a deal.
And it's not till the end, like the very end of the film, where they present the idea that like, oh, it was all a movie within a movie and it didn't actually happen.
Which isn't
like,
that the fucking laziest thing ever, too?
It's like, what? That's just stupid?
Yeah.
It's just stupid. So, like, nothing really mattered, I guess.
That's why there were no stakes.
Right. It is, I think, the perfect distillation of just this movie wanting to evoke a sense of value with including all the movie references and also like establishing the most bare bones like lame ass character development ever with the Minions characters.
Yes.
While also maintaining this idea that like we have to pander to 4-year-olds because they want to see moving colors and that's it.
Yep.
So it's like just it's like when a kid just like is doing their true and false answers on a quiz and they put the T to make it look like it could be a T or an F.
Yep.
And they're just hoping that the teacher reads it either way and it excuses it for what it might not be.
Yeah.
Like, absolutely just
these things
dreadful experience.
I think this is the perfect encapsulation of like where we're at with Hollywood. Is just we're gonna give you something that doesn't make sense. We're kind of filling into the time with social media and how we're capturing, audiences and the brains, and this is just gonna rack up money. And it really doesn't even have to be that good because we know that we're gonna get 500 million. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why, but I saw the Peter Coffin's face, and I was like, I generally just don't like you, but also like you're a genius because you've literally put together just a pile of shit and turned it into gold.
Right. You're swimming in this absolute sea of just like cash.
And his IMDb picture, he just looks like the happiest person ever.
Good for him.
And I'm like, is this because you're changing the young hearts and minds of our younger viewers, or because you know that this is a gravy train that you can do whatever you want? Like, if this thing doesn't fail, this is like this movie sucks, okay? But if it makes a lot of money, like they're doing another one, right?
There's no way they don't. There's no way they don't make another one.
And that's what kind of frustrates me too. Like, it's just,
oh yeah, people. I mean, we're guilty of it. We got tickets to see this movie.
Hold on.
But hopefully this serves as a PSA to people potentially listening to this, thinking, maybe I'll go see Minions and Monsters. Toy Story 5 is right there. You can just walk into that theater and just watch that. Disney's not much better than Illumination in terms of their ethical practices, but
at least
God willing, they might
deliver
something that makes sense.
Yeah.
Can we talk about Dort? I fucking hated Dort.
Oh, you didn't like him?
Dort was maybe more annoying than the Minions themselves. And that's saying a lot because I fucking hated those little yellow shitbags. So, fucking Dort was, I think, supposed to be this idea of we're going to present this character in like the lens of like the day the earth stood still with this like robot alien design thing. But actually, he's a loser who lives in an apartment with a roommate. And
yeah, that was another weird, like...
But then it doesn't really, like, follow through on this idea of, like, subverting the expectation of, like, he's not actually a robot. He's, like, a loser guy who's going to have to, like, reveal that to his love interest and, like, reckon with that in any way. And it's like, nope, the movie doesn't really go that route. He actually has a UFO with, like, his minion army, and he's going to come in and save the day.
Well, it's
and
a movie within a movie.
It's like... So his character literally just exists to do this basic function while you're trying to establish this idea of, like, there's more to him than there actually is. Like, there's not much to him at all. And it's just...
Yeah, I think you're frustrating, and I was laughing watching this thing because I was like, there's no character development, growth, or any sort of building, right?
There's nothing special to him at all.
Everyone's one-dimensional, and... I think Dort was probably your chance at finding someone in this thing that was maybe not even redeemable, but just, hey, we'll see a little arc or we'll find out something, and you don't. And yeah, I could see why you hated him.
I truly have no interest in watching the rest of the movies in this franchise, but I would bet actual U.S. currency, USD, that the first Despicable Me movie works in large part because you are hinging the story on a character who is going through an emotional arc or transformation of some kind. The basic premise of that movie is he is given 3 girls to look after and care for and become a parent to while being a supervillain, and he's got to deal with that as juxtaposing forces.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Interesting premise for a kids movie, has enormous potential to be like a very kind of simple yet effective piece of storytelling.
Yes.
And then that movie made a shit ton of money because children went and saw it and they looked at the yellow Tic Tacs and were like, I like that one. Yep. And so then they just capitalized on it and honed in. What is it about the Minions that is so appealing?
I don't know. I really don't know.
I really want to get into this.
Okay.
Because I've been curious ever since.
You got a manifesto over there? Like
yeah.
You're asking strangers?
Well, if I make enough of a manifesto, I'm thinking the Minions might see me as like their new bad guy leader.
Oh,
and they'll flock to me and then we can take over the world. One podcast at a time.
Yes.
So my big question ever since the first Despicable Me movie blew up was, what is it about the Minions themselves that is so appealing? Is there more to it, or is it simply the fact that they are an iconic character design that is unique? Little yellow dudes that are round, Tic Tac shaped, cylindrical, that look squishy, and have these blue overalls, these like enormous goggles, and just go around saying, banana, movie, like is there literally nothing more than just that?
That's it. That's all I attribute. I Despicable Me came out, and those Minion things were like, the Squishmallows, and then it's what I really think is just because of their feature with it being round, cylindrical.
They're easy to make and they're sellable.
And you got
very simple
eyes,
design.
They got goggles. They got some blue overalls. They're very unassuming, non-threatening.
And I would imagine that they're easy to duplicate in a film. Yeah. And like recreate in like merchandise, like with toys and shirts and plushies and like carnival toys and all this shit.
And I think the juxtaposition between their features and just not knowing what they're doing, while also aiding the worst of the worst, makes it maybe more fun.
And it puts them in situations where like they can easily just like endeavor any sort of like slapstick situation and come out fine. Like you could punch them, you could kick them, you could throw them, you could kick their ass, you could like stomp them, and they would just like
they bounce.
They'd bounce back up like an accordion, go banana, and that's the appeal, right?
That's what I've got. Dude, you're asking the wrong guy. I saw this thing the first time. I was like, the fuck? And next thing you know, they've made 7 with these things in there, and I don't know. I don't get it. That no one talks like them either, which is like one of the things where when you have a brand, and you got an item there that you're selling, like no one looks like a Minion, right? You can hold them, you can squish them, like all that stuff. So they're maybe fun to hold, or they don't take damage, whatever. But like, there's usually like their actions or the way they talk, or just being able to dress. Like even the people that you talked about when the Rise of Gru came out, and the people dressed in suits and ties, they're not dressing like Minions. Like that's what I don't get. It's just like, no one can replicate this at any point with anything that they do. So like you'd think that they'd fall off at some point. I'm almost attributing it to where it's like there's a comfort in the room, whether like you got a teddy bear or maybe you got a picture of something, and it's like you walk into the room and immediately it's de-escalated because you have it. I would assume that that's it. Where anyone that you talk to just said like they'd look at it and just be like, I don't know, it pleases me, and that'd be it.
Yeah. So many things have come and gone of like a similar ilk, like Labubu. Remember Labubu? No. I feel like that's already a trend that is like kind of died out, but that stemmed from a similar thing of like simple design. People find them cute. I thought they were ugly as shit.
Yep.
And it became like an instant fad.
Yep.
And
I thought these things would be fads too. I'm not gonna lie.
So I really think that a decent portion of what has perpetuated these guys for like over a decade span of time and popularity is like this sort of sense of like ironic enjoyment of their existence. Yes. This idea that like there's such a portion of the population that is actively hostile towards the way these things are and like how they look and like just the fact that they exist that keeps up the engagement of them existing as a thing. So like you get people who dress up as this in the suits going to see the Minions movie in a way that's saying like, yes, this is cinema. This is like the peak of like visual and audio art. When in actuality, they full well know in the back of their brain this is dog shit. But they're doing it for the lulz. They're doing it for the videos.
It's irony.
It's irony manifest in the most like obscure, abstract way that like you kind of have to dig into to figure out. And I think that being a persistent feeling in the culture with these things is kind of what's keeping it going. Because if people stay engaged with it, there's going to be the people who like it that are going to love it more, because there is this idea that we know that people think this is dog shit, but I don't care. I'm going to defend these little fuckers to the end of my life. Like it, and so because of that, coupled with the fact that like it is a simple design that you can like apply them into any situation, just makes this thing almost evergreen.
Like
This thing's going to be around for a while. And as long as these movies keep making money, we're going to get like Minions 6, the fucking great suck off or whatever it's going to be called. Yeah. Like you're going to be taking Preston when he's 20 to see Minions 7.
No.
And he's going to laugh once and he's going to be like, I liked it.
That's what kills me. I'm hoping that this thing, I feel like what they're able to do because of the way that these things are shot, that they're just going to keep, every 3 years they come out, because they're going to be like, we lost that target audience. They're older. They'll see it once. They won't buy the merch. But we'll get the next group of 3 to 5 year olds that are going to come in and see this. We'll make it even stupider. Even less dialogue, plot driven, like, and they tried to do it with this one, but like every 3 years we'll just come out with a new one and we'll grab the next wave, right? And it'll just be, and because of that, like you're saying, and these things being very non-threatening and applicable in any situation without receiving any sort of damage, they'll just keep going. Like it's until someone comes out, or they just stop. Like parents are like, we're not watching, because I think that's what the other thing that pisses me off too. It's like this movie's so easy just to throw on and have a kid be enthralled with it, right? So it's like, I got to do laundry and take care of some of the dishes and finish up some work.
Right.
And I'm gonna throw this on real quick. Little Jimmy, you sit down and watch this thing. You'll be okay. Like I know nothing's gonna happen, even though there's a beheading in here. Won't ever get addressed. You'll never remember it. But you'll get through it, and I'm able to have 2 hours of you just watching this thing, because unfortunately it's like zip, zap, zip, 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 zip. Your brain just will never shut off, and you won't know why you liked it, but you will. And that's easy enough. And I think that until parents are just like, hey, these are not good for our kids,
right,
it won't ever stop.
Yeah, this is like the equivalent of those like YouTube AI generated videos of like panda bears giving birth or whatever. Like this animated shit that like you would see your kid like come across on the algorithm and you'd be like, what the fuck?
Yeah,
like,
it should be treated that way.
Yeah,
right? Like, and I'm not. Like I said, I've seen Despicable Me. Like if you cut it up and just piece it together, like I've seen it. And it's not nearly as crazy as what I just watched. Like this thing is just like I think that's why it made me mad too. Is like we don't even really care about the story. We're just gonna have 90 minutes of these guys talking gibberish and just a bunch of just cut scenes. And you'll come back.
How many Illumination movies have you seen? Because I've seen,
I don't know,
I think 4 at this point. So I've seen both Mario movies, this one, and then I watched Sing in theaters when it came out.
Sing, yeah,
like 2015.
I like Sing, but I mean, at least have one, even if it's moving around. Like there's music involved, and like there's a story.
And I'm wondering too, and I'm bringing exactly that. I'm bringing that up because I feel like if you were to go through like all Illumination's filmography, which I'm never going to do, but I feel like if you came across someone and like they had seen it all and asked them like, what is there like an evolution of when Illumination just started leaning into more of just like the most baseline attention grabbing shit? Like they would probably be able to give you like somewhat of an answer and be like, well, yeah, Sing didn't, it had an element of that, but it wasn't nearly as bad as it is in like Mario Galaxy. And then now we have this movie, and it's just like, you can kind of see the de-evolution of like when they started not giving a shit about story or any sense of that, and just like really leaned into like the most basic level of what's going to grab kids' attention.
These movies suck. They're not really, the only thing that's funny to them has got to be this.
Yeah.
So Despicable Me was 2010. So we're at 16 years of
Shit.
this
Okay.
going
I thought it
on.
was like 2014. That shows how far off base I was.
You got Hop, that I don't know if I've ever seen or heard of.
I've not heard. I don't think that one did particularly well.
The Lorax, which not great, but based on a Dr. Seuss book.
I was going to say, the Dr. Seuss one I think was pushing that one.
Despicable Me 2, Minions, and then The Secret Life of Pets that I no interest in.
Yeah, that one made a boatload of money.
Sing, which I liked. I liked Sing. Despicable Me 3.
The Grinch.
Yep. Secret Life of Pets 2, Sing 2, Rise. Like, so they got their IPs that now they're just going to be like, well, we have our hooks in them and we'll just keep coming out with this shit.
And they can keep making these movies for a relatively medium budget for a blockbuster film like this. Like, animation is notoriously expensive, but when you can reliably make a movie for $85 million and it's guaranteed to at least make $500 million, then why not? You just ask the question, like, what's going to stop us?
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, that's probably why I don't ever really pay attention to Illumination, because like half their catalog is Minions, and then the other ones aren't very good. And I didn't think Sing was Illumination. I had no idea. So
yeah.
The movie itself. I mean, I'm done with them, I guess you could say. I'm tired of them. I don't know if I'm gonna maybe it's bad of me, but that they had a trailer for Not Alone, which is about space exploration or something happening, and I'm kind of hoping that flops, and then they just go, wow, we're really just not that good if it's not just brain candy,
right?
Like when we attempt to make these movies, we're really limited in our storytelling. We're just, well, whatever. Let's make Minions 8.
Mm-hmm.
So,
well, I think the train's going to keep on going, much like it did in this movie when they referenced whatever the fuck. I don't know. Shall we get into ratings for Minions and Monsters?
Sure.
I go first for this. So, when I watch a movie, I tend to oftentimes have a rating in the back of my mind, and usually it ebbs and flows. It changes as I experience the film, and what I land on is usually the ballpark of where I end up. This thing maintained at a level that didn't exceed a 3 out of 10, and the only reason really why I'm not going below that is because I feel like, and we didn't talk about it too much at all because we had a lot of gripes with this thing, understandably, but the animation quality itself is, I think, good. Like, they're able to make these renders that are like, okay, there's an impressive amount of detail in any given like character model or like, how a scene is physically constructed. And the 3D itself wasn't as like horribly sickening as I anticipated it to be.
Oh, here's a swing.
I know, right? But this is me giving the movie like the barest of praise in an absolute cacophony of just like despondency. And so for where I land, I think I'm maybe being a little generous in giving this a 3 out of 10.
Nice.
But that's where I'm landing.
Nice. Yeah. I don't go in. I guess I don't go in with like ratings and just being like, all right, is this above or below baseline? And we're going to hit like, exceeded expect. Like, I just kind of open mind. We'll see what happens. I haven't seen these things. Maybe this will enthrall me. I did not anticipate the pile of shit that was thrown at me. Yeah, I'm with you. Like, animation looks great. Like, it's not like it's about like when Pixar was doing it versus everyone else. We're all at the same kind of playing field with that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, there's nothing redeemable about this thing. I don't think the score was great. I chuckled a couple times. Yeah, whatever. This is a 3 out of 10. This is like one of the. I'm just not gonna remember it, and I think the reason why is because like if you're a 1 or a 2 rating, you really just piss me off. But like usually it's a movie,
mm-hmm.
And like you said, like it's if this is thrown on, you're never gonna be like, oh, choppy editing or bad dialogue or
right.
The sound's off or this looks awful. Like it's just really easy just to have on. But this is a 90-minute commercial that they put out for us for
mm-hmm.
Illumination, which it's a 3 out of 10, and yeah, hopefully I never have to watch this again.
Do you want to know the one time I laughed?
Sure.
It was when they were going through the montage of finding different bosses, and they found like a Frankenstein equivalent where he's going like, it's alive, and the minion's laying there, and he just says poop.
Oh, yeah, that's what Preston and Nate both laughed at that.
And it caught me off guard, but then it ruined itself when he kept saying stupid shit. And I'm like, if you just left it at poop, I would have given you the bare minimum of that was funny. But then it absolutely just nosedived from there.
I think I had a couple chuckle. The only one that really stood out to me is when he talks about the Oscars, and they go on the greatest Oscar, or the Oscar to the greatest movie ever made goes to, and I was like, not bad.
Yeah. We're trying to find diamonds in a mountain of dookie.
It's just dude. It's literally, it's not for us. It looks way worse, and maybe it's what parents were saying when Toy Story came out.
I very much doubt that.
Same, because like at least Toy Story had a good, impactful story,
right?
And there's some emotionality and
had
character
a lesson
building.
Yeah,
like,
you take away like a sense of friendship and learning to work together.
I will
overcome an obstacle.
I will say that this movie felt progressive at times. There are a couple things in here where I'm like, okay, I'm glad that they just kind of have it thrown in here as like a know-nothing burger, but like at the same time, like once again, bringing up curiosity because they had, the women's right thing going on. Mm-hmm. They were trying to address some of the things that were going on within the industry itself. I think the two brothers just wanting money and being, jackasses. And there was, and then, the minions themselves, it's almost like it's gender neutral. So
right.
Like there's some progressive stuff in here where I was like, okay, like that's why the beheading thing just threw me way off. So it's like you have so much of this like, hey, we're trying to appeal to young audiences and we're being a little bit more forward thinking and open minded, and then we're just gonna have that in here. Like it's just odd.
I knew we were gonna bring up the beheading thing quite a bit in this discussion. I just had a feeling in my gut. How much do you think George Lucas got paid to be in this movie?
I don't give a shit. I really don't. Anyone affiliated with this thing, it just feels like Trey Parker. I'm like, dude, you were South Park and like Counterculture, and now you're in this. Like, come on, man.
Yeah, almost feels like a betrayal for what he stands for.
Yeah, and it would have been different if he'd been associated with like all of these things, and was like, hey, I got in at the ground floor, it just makes money. Like, why not? Like, I get that one. That one is completely cool. Like, you didn't know it was going to take off. You were right there at the beginning, and now it's making a shit ton of money. Like, you don't care. You're going to phone it in and get a paycheck. Mm-hmm. But at least you did it up front, taking a risk.
Yeah.
Coming in at 3 and then coming in on this thing, I'm like, dude, yeah, exactly. Like, what? I thought you stood for something, and this totally is not it. Unless there's an interview out there that he really goes into, like, this is why it's important. And even then, I might be like, you're full of shit.
I know. I was going to say, I never trust anything with him that isn't super ironic or just like, yeah, the most
there you go. That's
sideways things possible.
Why he was in this.
Well, speaking of Sideways.
Yeah.
Sideways is a different movie that we're maybe going to talk about someday on this podcast. But yeah. There are different sets, characters, places, and things that you could say are oriented sideways in this next movie we're going to be talking about, my recommendation of PlayTime. So I recommended this film, PlayTime. It is a satirical comedy film directed and co-written by Jacques Tati. He co-wrote it with Jacques Langrand and Art Buchwald. And it is a film that came out in 1967 and is sort of a kind of from the distance portrayal of these many different characters who are kind of going in and out of different scenes, different settings, different designs of a sort of like modern depiction of France, of Paris, France, mm-hmm. Where you've got this sort of like forward portrayal of like advanced technology and inventions, and this sort of idea of like, oh, we got a humdinger for you here, like selling products while also like in the middle of this very kind of like liminal and quaint, clean looking, but also sort of dystopian architecture, yes. Where it's very pointedly sort of sterile and sort of like kind of apple coated in its design, but also very appealing. This is a movie that is very much just like pushing the visuals and the set designs and like what is physically happening at the forefront.
Really opening up with what can be caught on camera.
Right.
What we can get away with the medium.
And it's kind of lightly following this character that I guess was in Jacques Tati's previous two films, called Monsieur Hulot, who was in I'm going to do my best. Les Vacances de Monsieur Hulot, which came out in 1953, and Mon Oncle, which came out in 1958.
Yeah.
So this is sort of a kind of passion project for Jacques Tati. He spent a lot of time trying to develop this thing. Shooting ended up amounting to a full year's worth of time, with multiple different periods of break in between, where it didn't look like maybe this thing was going to amount to anything, but then it came back. It ended up being one of France's most expensive productions because of all the different sets that were being built, and Tati's very lofty ideas of what he wanted to do with the movie, and like how he was going to maybe like create actual infrastructure that he could, with the hope of like future film productions using it, have it exist in perpetuity. But that's something we can talk about as we go further along. I recommended this movie because I was kind of lightly aware of it. It's part of the Criterion collection. This is a film that has a lot of like retrospective appreciation.
Big time.
A lot of people look at this and they view it as like, oh, this is one of the most kind of like forward-thinking, influential movies that like purely accentuates the technical format of what a movie can be.
Yes.
While also playing around with like the idea of characters and dialogue and how that is technically worked into the framework of the movie. And I remember when I was big into this YouTuber called Video Game Donkey, and he, most of the time, as you can imagine by his name, talks about video games. Makes quirky videos on Super Mario and Call of Duty and Assassin's Creed and all that shit. But there was a video that popped up in my timeline that he posted just called Playtime. And it is I think 15 or 20 minute, just kind of him talking about the movie. And which is crazy because he doesn't usually talk about film.
Yeah.
And when he does, it's like, oh, there's something kind of like worth looking into it with like a different lens here. And he showed clips of this, and I was like immediately intrigued, and the movie just kind of stayed in my mind ever since. Like this was years and years ago that I had watched this video. And so I thought about it the other day, and I was like, I should recommend this movie. I think I'm going to recommend it on the podcast. And so I throw it out there. I recommend it, with the hopes that it was available for us to see. Some of these movies we throw out here, it's like difficult for us to track down. Luckily, it was available to rent, and I think it's even on YouTube for free in some form. That's where I watched it. Right. And so it wasn't going to be a question of like if we could get our hands on it. The question mostly would be like, what would a conversation about this movie be like?
Yeah.
And we're going to find out.
We will see.
I guess spoilers for Playtime. Really, one of those movies where not sure how you could spoil.
Unspoilable.
It. Like maybe the most unspoilable movie we'll have covered on this show, outside of Minions and Monsters, I guess. Which pointedly, we did not talk about the story that much in that discussion.
What story?
Exactly. So,
which you could say about this one, but it's funny enough. There's a good way of doing it and a bad way of doing it. And
I know we talked about like a little bit sort of teasing this idea of the commonality between this movie and Minions and Monsters, about how these are almost purely like visual kind of gag movies that
very kind of satirical vignettes
who are like accentuating this idea of like, oh, you're just going to take away most of your value from just simply watching what's taking place on screen.
Yes.
Not necessarily like characters or story. And also it's going to be a little French centric.
Which is odd
because like with the Minions, Peter Coffin is a French man, and the Minions are very like kind of French coded. Like they will say real words every now and again, but they're almost always like in a French terminology
or accent. I guess
right. And so
they sound French.
So I guess that's where like the similarities kind of begin and end between those two films, because otherwise, this is I would say, mostly pleasant, curious experience of a movie.
Yeah, this one very much felt like the director kind of. So at the very beginning, I was like, oh, we're gonna be operating within the medium and what we can do within the realm of what's on the camera, right? And how do we influence scaling and what's happening, and audience members knowing what they're seeing versus what the character's actually saying. Not like that in Minions, but like there are a lot of set pieces, designs, and I feel like vignettes are like just not even storylines, just actions that come about. Mm-hmm. Like when she's trying to take the picture of the flower stand and everyone just keeps popping in, and then she does it again and it feels like she's standing in the same spot, but now the another camera guy is like in the way, and then a guy shuffles him off, and then a Navyman comes in and is like, I'll take the picture, and it's like it really goes nowhere, but it's just kind of it's a little bit fun just within the world that we're operating in. Mm-hmm. And that's where it kind of felt Minions-y to me, where like we have these very side pieces. All right, I'll just get this out there. This feels like the inception for all of the like Kentucky Fried movies, Airplane, Hot Shots, scary movies.
Yeah,
like this satirical design that we're going to be just floating in these like scenes, right, or vignettes, if you will, that we can kind of have a little bit of fun with what environment are we operating in, how do we create a mini story out of this, and what can we play with here if that'll really kind of change the way you're thinking about what you're saying, or at least interpreting what you're saying.
Yeah, it feels very much kind of indebted to the period of like Charlie Chaplin or Buster Keaton, but in a way that's like more kind of pointedly quaint and European, obviously. We're gonna have these sort of like visual gags that sort of domino effect to a certain extent from one to the other, while also focusing on just the idea of seeing what we can fit on the screen, and like drawing people's attention to different parts of what's going on in camera. I found it very fascinating that this was shot on 70 millimeter film. So at the time, that was just like a big deal. Like, you didn't fucking do that. I think it's one of the reasons why this movie turned out as expensive as it did. Yeah. At least at that period of time. Yep. And I think,
and he made the whole city.
He made all the sets. I think there's only a couple of places where he actually used like location shooting. Okay. I think the like traffic scene at the end was one of them, and
that
then
makes sense.
I think there was like an airport or something that might have been another. But anyway, it's so impressive to me how, knowing this movie was shot on film and in the time period that it was shot in, where you can see pretty much everything in the frame with so much clarity.
Yes.
Like, it is insane just how on a technical level this movie just presents itself.
Yeah, I'd agree. I mean, I didn't catch up until I started reading some stuff afterwards about that, but yeah, it's 1967. It's got the feel of 1967, but the way that it's moving and the way that it looks, it feels very progressive, or I don't want to say modern, but to the extent where in 1967 you had this versus like, the Grapes of Wrath or whatever. Right. Like, you know what I'm saying? There's two very different distinctions where if you put this on, and it's almost like you wouldn't be able to decipher a timeline. Mm-hmm. Like, it's before 1970s. Like, you could just tell with how everything looks. But, like, in terms of the technical aspect, yes. Like, is this remastered? Is this redone? Did they really enhance this? Like, this can't be of the time.
And I think a large part of what's helping it kind of maintain this sort of, like, timeless feel is the audio editing. So, this movie is pretty much entirely dubbed, and I was super impressed with the sound design and the way that it just kind of like laid those over. Obviously, I don't think it's like perfect.
No, there's obviously 1967
for 1967, and like there's many instances where like the dubbing doesn't quite match what the characters on screen are saying, yeah. But the overlapped nature of it and the way that the voices kind of like come in and out depending on like the distance they are physically to the camera is very impressive to me. And it's one of those things where like when I watch an older movie like from the 40s or 50s, and it might have color, it might even have like the most clear kind of picture quality that you could maybe get at the time, the audio of those movies is what immediately gives it away to being old. Like, you listen to an old film, you can tell its age just by the way it sounds, with like the graininess and like the kind of muffled way that people are speaking. And like even movies that came out in the 60s, you've got this kind of like sort of really like kind of try hard quality of like, well, you see, he killed himself with a knife, and it's like very Hitchcockian in the way that it's like there's like an accentuation to the way this sounds. Like there's a texture to it. Whereas this, it's so multi-layered and there's so much going on that it's like I'm like getting a weird ASMR experience with the way this thing is like bringing itself to me. So
liminal and ASMR, that is like two like pairings of this thing that is behind the theme, or the category of comedy, right? Like, isn't that like a weird way of, like, if you had to pitch this to someone and you let off with that and then he said no, but it's supposed to be kind of slapsticky, I think that genuinely raise just curiosity.
Yeah,
because it doesn't. I'm not gonna lie. I threw this on. I went on YouTube, and I was like, I'm gonna try to find something before I spend $4 on this thing. And apparently, the original cut is lost. Right. So this is like the one that you can find is a remastered, not refurbished, but like
upscaled version.
He was able to find whatever remnants were left and put together the movie that he wanted. So I threw it on YouTube, and I didn't look up anything besides added this to IMDb when you requested it, so I'm watching it, and there's not a lot of dialogue going on, and when it does, it's very much like this feels like it's in French. It's a French director, right? Mm-hmm. And then there's a receptionist or someone that's far away, and you can hear him talking, and I'm like, oh, that's American. And I'm reading it, and it's both in French and American, and I'm like, oh, okay, I don't know, and then like there's some more dialogue, there's some more English spoken, and I'm like, okay, like we're here. And then they get to the scene with the bellhop, and the guy's navigating some sort of like, hey, I got to get this device going, and he's talking, and they're kind of talking like, I think in French. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, I don't know what I've signed up for. This is like we're 20 minutes in. This is the second line of dialogue that I've heard outside of people just talking in the background. Right. And I thought I had the wrong film. Like, I almost stopped and rented it because I was like, I think this is not in. I said, no, I'm just going to keep watching. And it's very like liminal. Like, this is a great reference point to if you were to discuss. I mean, to some extent.
To some extent, yeah. It's not entirely like. Obviously, like, this is a movie where, like, the setting is a character. We talk about that all the time on this show. And it is, in a sense, liminal in the way that it's very forward-thinking about the way that we,
It's a modern time, but the 1967 modern time. So to us, it's like that's not modern, but it looks further advanced than 1967, right?
Right. When you think about the fact that it's almost kind of like 2001 that way.
Yeah.
In the way that the design is very kind of clean and sleek, and like this idea of modernity leaning towards this like very minimalist sensibility. Mm-hmm. You've got like glass everywhere and like very kind of like wide open spaces, but like it's very white and gray centric, light gray. And the way that the light hits things and the way that the image is oriented, you could take like a snapshot of any given moment, remove the people, and say like, hey, I found you a liminal space.
Yeah, very true.
Especially when it comes to the office cubicles in that one scene where that wasn't really a thing back then. Like that was a concept that he kind of like formed as a way of like using the exercise of forward thinking and going like, what would it be like if we just like boxed ourselves off for the sake of productivity? Yeah. And like it almost ends up coming back around to bite us in the ass of like, well, this guy in this box is talking to this guy in this box over the phone, doing this like complicated math shit when really one of them could just go to the other one and say it to his face.
And you got the Monsieur looking for him the whole time.
Monsieur Holu.
Yeah, looking for him the whole time too, and not being able to walk around the maze that is the office space.
Yes, this movie very purposefully keeps everything in focus so that you can just kind of pick and choose where your focus goes. Mm-hmm. And I think that's a very fascinating thing to do for a movie. I kind of want to get into my viewing experience with this.
Okay,
because it's a little unique. So. Last night I throw this movie on.
Same.
And I'm not going to get into like super details of what's going on, but it's been a bit of a rough week for us.
Okay.
We've been pretty busy, and we in the middle of the heat wave, just kind of like finding the energy and motivation to get to the things we need to get to has been a bit of a task.
Yep.
But last night I throw this movie on. It's like around 8:15, and I have work this morning, and I wake up at 4:30, and so. I'm throwing this on thinking to myself, I'll just power through it. I'll stay up late, get like fucking 5 hours of sleep, and then that'll be it. the combination of the way that this movie is with like the sound design and the picture and the pacing of it, coupled with the fact that it is hot as balls in my house and I have like really no AC helping me out at all. I was getting real sleepy real fast. I got far enough into this movie where I had 55 minutes left, and I told myself, I cannot properly do this justice. I have to continue this tomorrow. And so I shut the movie off. I go to bed. I wake up. I go to work. I'm watching this in spurts on my phone with my headphones.
Oh, that's tragic.
I know, it is tragic.
That's
but
tragic.
It's kind of the way I had to do it because I wasn't sure what time you were going to come over, and I wanted to really make sure I had this movie finished before we recorded because I really don't want to be the first one out of the two of us to be like, I didn't finish the movie, I'm sorry, which I don't think would happen, but... You know,
it's maybe.
I'm floating the idea.
I think
out there
Only
that
God
it's a
Forgives is the only
possibility.
one that we ever talked about. I was like, I couldn't get this,
and that was our first episode. So that's a little bit more.
So days since accident, we're up to 120.
Right. Yeah. But I was really just trying my best to get through it, and I noticed because we have all the fans blowing in the living room and like this movie,
it's hard to hear.
And I'm watching it with the volume turned up, but Megan's trying to sleep, so I'm like, okay, I got the subtitles on, but they're not really helping me out. And
that's nice for you. I tried to find. Yeah, go ahead.
Watching it the way I was with the fans blowing, I was unknowingly losing a lot of audio fidelity of the film itself and what it had to offer. Listening with my earbuds, really helped me appreciate the sound design of this thing,
especially in the restaurant scene.
All
that is, we'll talk.
Which is more or less like where I picked up from.
Yeah, that's what I knew because I was at the same point. I didn't go to bed or anything, but I paused it.
You chunked this up?
No. Because like I mentioned before, I mean, with Preston being up here, it's kind of hard just to be like, all right, I'm going to find time. The World Cup's on, so like, it's been just, I'll watch it tonight, and then something happens, whether it's, having to put a kid to bed or staying up with Preston because I didn't get to see him all day, or just a World Cup game where I'm like, oh, I want to check this thing out. That I got to the weekend, I was like, I'm going to find a time to watch it over the weekend. Didn't happen. And I said, you know what? I'm watching it tonight, and this was last night. I said, we're watching it. We got to get it out the way. I had no idea what was going to happen, right? I didn't know if it was a comedy, horror, drama. Kind of for some of the IMDb pictures when I added it, it made it look like that this gentleman was going to be navigating the lens around playing like optical illusions almost,
right, like there would be more kind of like sight gags and like perspective plays, which there is a little bit.
Not sight, because I didn't know it was a comedy, so like I wasn't thinking sight. I was like, is this guy like a detective, that he's looking for someone, and we're going to have like this like a lot of perspective shift, or what do you want to not playing with the lens, right? Like I guess the most like one I could do is when they're in the cubicle space, he goes down there, the camera doesn't move, and you see him moving around the boxes, and you're like, well, I can see exactly what's happening, but he can't. So I thought it'd be a detective around that Pink Panther thing. So I threw it on last night at 10 o'clock because I had to I fell asleep with my daughter. I was putting her to sleep, and then Jasmine comes in. She's like, "Gotta wake up." I was like, "Oh, okay." And then I'm walking around groggy, and I'm like, "You gotta watch this movie." So I threw it on YouTube. Didn't have subtitles. Also confused. Like the first 25 to 30 minutes of this movie, I sat very confused, and then realized there's not a lot of dialogue. This is all kind of what's happening on the screen. So you got to be engrossed in that, which I wasn't at that point. It was just kind of like, maybe I'm gonna take away some things here, and yes. Struggled with it a little bit. Really didn't appreciate the technical aspect, and then the restaurant scene hit, and all of a sudden, like I was just kind of into it.
The restaurant scene hits, and you're like, "Oh, this is the kind of focal point of the movie."
Well, you don't know that. So here's the thing with that is you don't know that because everything could have been the focal point, right? Like him trying to find the businessman, him walking the streets.
A movie that goes out of its way to not have a focal point.
Yeah, and that's where like you got the love interest. There's a point where they're like boxed in and they're just watching TV, and it's like, oh, hey, you know, like you're going to be watching TV with people watching you because of all the glass, right? And it's like it's kind of some social commentary stuff. And then he gets out, and it's like you sometimes you'll shift perspective. You know, there's a love interest, not even love interest, it's a lady involved.
Yeah,
and there's some Americans visiting, and it just moves around, and the camera doesn't stop, and it's going throughout the day. So the restaurant scene hits, and I'm like, all right, we're gonna make a quick pit stop in here. And then it just keeps building. Mm-hmm. And I was like, all right. I mean, I guess right now I don't even care that there's no audio because, like, this is a shit-ass restaurant. All these people are paying good money to go in here. Things are falling apart.
Right.
You know?
It is, I think, really where the movie kind of, like, does a great job of, like, grabbing onto me. And I think, like, truly one of those, like, okay, I'm leaning forward in my seats moments when I think the gags are like really firing on all cylinders in those scenes. So like some of my favorite stuff takes place during that restaurant period of time. I think one of my favorite gags is the door that shatters and the guy just holds the knob. And because they're all glass, just like, oh, I guess I'll just like keep the facade up of there's an actual door here.
It's great because he's holding the handle after they shatter it. They got to clean it up, and he's kind of holding the handle out just because, you know, he's holding it. Mm-hmm. And someone starts tugging on the handle, and he doesn't know what to do, so he acts like he opens it up, and people step through. And then all of a sudden, that's what I really appreciate about all that stuff is like it kept building on, and it wasn't ever like, hey, we're going to move away. We're only moving away until someone figures it out.
Right, and it's absurd and it's silly, but it's also kind of character motivated. And if you look at it from his perspective, he's thinking, if I'm not here to hold a door open for people, I don't get tips.
Yeah.
And so there's like, okay, there's like an easy motivation for him to keep doing this, even though it's like the most absurd shit possible.
I love that there's a waiter in one of the things, and I didn't really pick up on it.
With the clothes?
Yeah, I didn't pick up on it until the third or fourth. So he's kind of sitting there like just looking stupid, right? And you could whatever, and he rips his pants, and so they ask him to stand outside. Mm-hmm. And next thing you know, after every 5 to 10 minutes, I go back to him, and something's happened to a different waiter, and they're just plucking clothes off this guy and exchanging.
I've torn my jacket. Let's trade. Yeah. I've ruined my tie. Let's trade. My shoe's scuffed to shit. I need your shoe now. Give it to me. Until this guy is just like, this is the most disheveled looking waiter ever, and he's just like stuck outside, not able to do shit.
No money coming, nothing. Then they got oh my God. I thought it was really well done without having much dialogue. I absolutely love the restaurant scene. Mm-hmm. And I will tell you guys this from a filmmaking standpoint, you can watch this whole thing. It's a great, you know, in terms of technical ability and filmmaking and just what you're able to do. Watch the restaurant scene alone with just the amount of production that has to go into that.
Yeah.
Like how many people are there? It's a restaurant, so it's not like this is open space.
Right.
They just keep cramming more people, and there's prop gags going on left and right with this thing, you know. And the whole time too, there's really nothing that has us there for outside to view it.
It's almost like an exercise in intentionality.
Yeah.
When you watch this, and you're kind of going through it with the idea of how many of these people were given specific direction to like go somewhere, do a task, like perform on camera in an intentional way, and how many of these people were just kind of told like, oh, kind of just do whatever. Like, because the way that this movie's dubbed, obviously, like, it's not going to be like precision perfect. There's going to be some things that are a little off, but you also have to wonder like how much strenuous exercise did it take Jacques Tati to direct specific actors to do specific things and like hit their marks, do the gags, like make it so that like it is so specifically timed that you just have to imagine the amount of work and precision that went into any given gag that takes place. You know,
this scene I think I read took 7 weeks, or this 45 minutes, 7 weeks to shoot.
I believe it.
Yeah. Like that's, some movies are done and wrapped up in 7 weeks of shooting.
Yeah.
This alone, which is about a little less than half the film, took 7 weeks. I love that point. I think everyone had direction. I'm not bullshitting you. When you realize like, oh, we're just a viewing member of this, there's really no story going on. Like we can kind of, everyone is in their own world or bubble.
This movie is very purposefully kind of pushing us away from what's going on.
It's not a narrative, right?
Yeah.
And the camera will be focused on one thing, but everything else is happening for a reason outside of it. There was a point, it's like, as it's going on, like, once again, I don't know. And then all of a sudden I realized, I'm like, oh, I should just start watching everything else. Because, like, he's kind of, like, it's a little bit of a trick with, like, we want to show you this will be funny. But there's some other things that you can see going on.
Right, something is naturally going to draw your eye.
There was a couple that, like, they got up to leave because they were done, right? And they started talking, and then they go up and they're saying goodbye to everyone. And then a waiter brings someone else in and sits them down. You know, and then at that point, I think, like, he slipped and fell or something like that. Or and I don't exactly remember what, but point being is, I think everyone, if you go back, you could just watch that and watch the extras, and I'm sure there's probably a couple that are people just talking, but, like, the sound design with it too, it's picking up everything, so it's not like you can't at that time just audio dub some, you know, generic audience talk, right? Like, you have to have that chatter going.
Yeah.
So I thought it was just really impressive. I mean, it's just, with everything that was going on, it felt very, like you said, intentional with what he was doing. And I think it's a masterclass with just being able to have that, because there are at points probably 60 to 70 people on camera that are, well, 30 to 40, right?
Yeah.
But, you know, you get the point, that are doing something specific to what they as characters would be doing at that restaurant.
Right. And the amount of, like, just absolute work to make sure that these actors perform the way they need to, whether it's just like a general sense of direction of, like, hey, you're just going to, like, dance over here.
Yeah.
Or, like, hey, I need you specifically to, like, go through these 4 steps to accomplish this thing in this scene, is very impressive and very just kind of, like, I'm in awe of the coordination of it.
Oh, yeah, same. Well, so much.
And I think another appeal to this movie that I think I could read as intentional is just sort of, like, the uncanniness of the environment.
Yeah.
And just, like, the way that things are staged, the way that things are like almost purposefully made to feel like you're watching something that's coated in artificiality. So, like,
yes,
when you watch this movie, especially when he's, like, going through the streets and, like, kind of going in and out of different buildings, and, like, you have, like, all these extras in, like, the outdoor environment, and, like, sometimes even indoor environments, you can just kind of, like, look in any given scene and, like, you're just staring at specific people in the background going, like, is this a real person that's holding still, or is this a cardboard cutout? Because they are not moving.
Yeah.
Like, it's almost like one of those things where when you're playing a video game and you see a character model in the distance that hasn't fully loaded in yet.
Yes.
And they're just, like, at a state, like, not moving, just, like, completely standing still. But then the closer you get to them, the more they feel like a real thing.
Yeah.
It almost evokes that sense of, like, if this guy just, like, went over there, would these people, like, transform into, like, actual human beings, or would they just, like, stay completely still in their artifice? Like, there's, like, a kind of uncanniness to that is, like, you almost don't pick up on because the movie's so kind of quirky and just, like, zany. It's got that energy throughout the whole entire thing.
Yeah.
The only time I would really say it gets, like, kind of pointedly obscure and weird is when they're in the apartment watching TV. And it's, like, this big glass pane over the entire, like, set of 4 apartments almost makes them look like they're inside of a TV dinner while they're watching television. And it evokes the sense of, like, oh, we're just, like, watching them watch things, like, kind of, like, living their lives like they don't know that we're seeing them. It's
reality
like
TV.
It's like a one-way glass.
Yeah.
Like, the sense of voyeurism that's being evoked from just, like, the mundanity of what they're, because, like, it's one of the few times in which, like, there isn't much going on that's zany. You know, they're just kind of, like, living in the moment.
Yep.
And I feel like that being included is, like, this movie kind of needs something like this. Like,
that specific scene. Oh yeah,
where
for sure.
It like kind of slows down and lives in the reality of, like, people's real experiences.
Yeah, there's this guy. I think it's a lot of just social commentary of the time, and perhaps maybe what he was seeing, where society was going. But yeah, I think all of this stuff is just intentional. Like, I really think that the restaurant scene is like it's a boof on capitalism, commercialism, right? And the only reason why, and ads, like, he's like, the only reason why people are going here is because we have a sign that points towards the door to go in there, right? And then you're being told that this is some really good food, but then, like, when they go back, you see that they're making it out of, like, what looks like a wooden hut, you know. And it's all fine dining, and people are dressed up, yet the lights don't work. So I mean, it felt like at times like that, like you talk about with the office space and the disconnection that we have as human beings, and being able to, we're so close yet so far away. The reality TV segment.
There's like a sterility in the idea of this like janky sense of like technological progress.
Yes.
About how like we will give you the most like either useless or just like crazy inventions that really don't amount to much and actually might hinder your sort of like sense of progress as a person. You've got the guy who like invents the door that you can slam and it's golden silence or whatever. Yeah. And it's like, the fuck would you need that for? Like, that's fucking useless. Or like just like the different like light fixtures and like the buttons and like all these gadgets that are in idea meant to like streamline things, meant to simplify everyday life to the point where it's like, oh, the simple pleasures of like going through modernity. And it's like, no, these things tend to kind of almost make things more complicated and like make people frustrated. Like the guy pressing all the different buttons to like just activate the intercom, and it's like, oh gee, I gotta fucking deal with this thing now. And he's like,
or
takes
the
him
AC where they're trying to turn the AC on and they don't know what button to hit, and then it just is pumping out.
Right, this idea of like we're touching on capitalism in a way that's like, it's obviously supposed to give you this level of like comfort and safety, when in actuality it's just making things more absurd and stupid.
It creates bigger problems, right? I mean, if the light fixture doesn't work, we have to call in the electrician now, so now he's going to be able to get paid to fix that. Right? I mean, whatever it is, I mean, you can kind of point to it where it's just you're feeding off yourself on this. Maybe that's why you picked a restaurant.
Right. Or just like also commenting too on the absurdity of wealth.
Well, I think that, 100. Well, you are not wealthy or in status if you don't go here. And there's the interest. The lady walks in with a green dress and everyone starts harping on her because it's not black and white. It's not in vogue.
Right.
And then literally the next one that pops up behind her has got a stripe of it's black and white with a stripe and a circle on there, and she's got like a dead fox or a minx on there, and everyone's like, oh my god, can you believe that? And it's just all these people are sitting there like, I don't want that table, I want that table, because that's going to let them know that I have this much money. It's just
chaos from entitlement.
Yeah, exactly. And that's where I think it played into that, and also just kind of maybe how dumb people are when they're looking at wealth and status, because when you look at this restaurant as us as audience members, you're like, this is a piece of shit. Like, the food didn't even look great.
No, it's disorganized. The food looked like it sucked dick. The service was awful, and like everybody's falling over, like tripping over each other. Very kind of like a quick sort of commentary on the idea of like status and race. I feel like that happens in this movie.
There was a quick one where the African American gentleman walked in and they're trying to boot him out, and then he's like, dude, I'm playing music here. It's like, yeah.
Yep. It's just like in many ways a very kind of forward-thinking movie that benefits from the subtlety. This is a movie that's like, at the end of the day, you could watch this and be like, that was a quaint time. That was like a nice little I had a fun little like gaggy time with it. And it's like, this is one of those movies that I think benefits from multiple different perspectives, because I feel like any given person could watch this and extrapolate so many different things from it.
Possibly.
One of those things where like, I enjoy this as a piece of art. I enjoy this as like a sort of like conversation starter. Yes. Like you could bring up PlayTime with someone
if they'd seen it.
If they'd seen it, and like just kind of have a very fruitful conversation with it. One of the things that I sort of struggle with is the idea of just like, not rewatchability, because I think this movie is just inherently rewatchable.
I do too.
But I think that the eagerness for me to revisit this movie is a little bit low, just because of like some of the conditions that I was enduring while watching this, but also just like the very purposeful arm's length nature of this film.
Yeah.
Just like really kind of like keeping me at a distance of engaging with it, because that's where it wants to keep me. Like, it wants me to view these things as like almost like an exercise in observation.
Yes.
And not much past that. Like, there's no real idea of like character or story or like, an arc or progression or anything. Yeah. It's purely just like, yeah, this is kind of like a really cool tech demo that at the time was sort of mind blowing, you know.
Still is kind of. I mean, I'm not
Still
gonna lie.
is.
Like I was very. I'm watching this thing and I'm like, I can't really tell what's. Well, one, it's not computer generated or AI or pictures drawn up. Like there's a really cool scene at night where the building lights are turning on 4x4 and they just keep going up. And there's an elevator riding up next to it, I believe.
Yeah.
And I'm like, well, I don't know how he did that. Maybe it's just a small stature, and we got the perspective behind the actor, you know, and it makes it look very much real. But it's one of those things where maybe set off to the side, highlight. I don't know how they would scale it.
I read that for a lot of like the sets, instead of actually decorating it with physical objects, he would just print out large photographs.
Yeah.
And just kind of like tape them, and using the perspective of the camera to kind of trick people into thinking that an environment's larger than it is.
So I'm saying, but the lights still came on.
But it's very, like, you have to imagine like just like the tedious nature of how this thing was put together.
And that's where I'm like, it's 1967, so this is like one of those things where I'm like, I really have to applaud all this, because we just watched Minions and Monsters. I mean, they had a 250-foot Cyclops that looked real, right? Like, how is this back 60 years ago making it?
Right.
And not to say it's undecipherable, but like it's still pretty damn good where you're watching it and it's not you going fake.
Right.
You know?
You're not. You'd be remiss to watch this movie and go, bullshit. Yeah. Come on.
Don't do that. Like, if you watch this thing, just take it like, hey, like, I'm just going to watch 2 hours of a guy with a camera kind of following people around in modern times, or you know, whatever his perspective is of where we're going, right? Mm-hmm. And just see what happens, and then just soak in all of the technical aspects with it. You'll be fine.
So I was doing a little bit of reading on Mr. Tati, on Mr. Jacques Tati, and this was sort of, I think, the last movie that he did.
Okay.
This was like towards the end of his like filmmaking career.
Magnum opus?
He had, a lot of people refer to it as his magnum opus, but at the time, I guess it was a little derisive in that there were certain expectations from him as a filmmaker and I guess the character that he played. Because from his previous two movies, and I don't really entirely know the contents of them, but from what I read, it seemed like people's expectations for this were a little more involved with him as an actor and a character, sort of in the vein of like maybe like a Mr. Bean or something, like a Rowan Atkinson. Like,
is he
this guy who has...
Wow, I did not... Yeah, you said Mr. Bean, and I was like, that's not the director that was... It is. I didn't know that.
Yeah. Jacques Tati is the guy in the movie.
Yes, I didn't know that.
And so there's almost this sense of like people's expectations that they're going to be like more involved with him, like, oh, we're going to like follow him and his like kind of wacky hijinks, and the sort of like expectation of that kind of like drove him to the point of, well, I don't really have the energy, or, you know, I think at this point he was in his 60s.
He looks like it. I didn't like that he had the 32-year-old girl, or like girl that he was courting, or whatever you say.
Yeah, that was a little funky.
Right.
I kind of chalked it up to being French weirdos, but anyway,
okay. That's cool. Yeah, that works.
that totally, we can just brush it aside. But I think he was in his 50s, and he was like, I don't have the energy to like really kind of focus this movie on me if I'm going to direct it. You know, obviously it's an arduous task as it is. So he very purposefully kind of stepped himself back. And obviously, like, he's prominent in like many scenes of this movie.
Yes.
Like, obviously he's like one of the like characters you can identify in multiple different takes, but he very purposefully kind of just like, yeah, I'm just gonna like let the general like kind of crowd and like people coming in and out be the sort of juice that's motivating this movie.
Yeah.
And this movie came out. The reception of it was, I think, like tepid to negative.
Yeah.
Like people's expectations of this were not met from what they wanted. And they just kind of looked at this as like, yeah, it's pretty, like, but so what? Like, this doesn't have much to offer. And it really didn't make too much money. Like, he actually had to dig into his own personal finances and then eventually borrow from family members to get this movie over the finish line.
Set him back years in debt.
Yeah, and then, of course, this movie comes out. It's a financial disappointment. You have to imagine just, like, people's perception of him at the time being like, this guy's washed. Like, you know, friggin' dig the grave, man. He's finished. And it's really something to this movie's momentum of just like, where this thing's just going to age like wine. Like, this is one of those movies that I feel like when we talk about, like, you pull a movie off the shelf like it's a wine bottle.
Yep.
Like, I feel like this would be pretty high up there on the shelf. Like, you pull this movie out like Patrick Bateman and you're like, check this thing out.
Well,
you know,
gotta,
look how cultured I am.
I was about to say, with the right audience, because this is also wrong audience. It's got 15 minutes and it's going off.
Right. Like, I would not show a movie like this to my dad.
Right.
He would shut this off in 5 minutes and be like, the fuck is this? Where's Big Bang Theory?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
But I think that if you are someone who just is in awe of the technicality of movie making, this is a movie that you will get so much out of.
Oh, I think this is like for future directors, and I say future because it's probably something that either people are aware of if they've directed or want to do filmmaking, you know. But people that kind of have like I really like movies. I'd be interested if I could do one on my own, or like what that would look like. Like, this is one, not to make it seem like arduous if you're directing, but like one of those where you could get an appreciation for like, here's some of the creativity that this camera can lend you, and what you can do with this in order, and not necessarily filming a narrative story, right? But more so of how to just keep people engaged and put on something that you could kind of be, I don't want to say enthralled, but at least like have a lot of people have a general appreciation for making it. Yeah, this one for sure. I don't think this is like this would be a well-known wine if you pulled it out, but definitely one where you're like, wait, where'd you get that from? It's not bad. You know, like
hey, this has got a little bit of juice to it.
Yeah, like tell me more about it.
I'm getting some different scents in here I wasn't expecting.
Yeah.
Was there really anything else to say about Playtime? I think, I figured going into this we would have a pretty succinct, valuable discussion of it, but I did not come in with the expectation that, like, we're going to have like a Spider-Man 2 hour-and-a-half long dissection of this thing. It's really one of those things where, like, you just kind of have to watch it. Very experiential, very kind of like subjective when it comes to people's viewing experience of this, and really like one of those things where just check this thing out. You'll appreciate, I think, at least something about it. You know,
it really just I would say this one depends. I think that this hits a certain scratch for certain people, because like I think about my brother and I'm like, I don't know if he'd vibe with this at all. He may or may not, you know, because some people really like the narrative structure of movies, and when the story's being put in place, like that's what you really hone in on or gravitate to.
Yeah, for some people that is what movies are. Yeah, and if I'm not getting that, then what the fuck did I watch?
I mean, yeah, to some extent, or maybe it's just the like this thing. Like I almost checked out. I saw an hour left, and I was like, Jesus Christ, you know, like it was good. It wasn't the restaurant scene. I'm telling you, like once that thing started going and it kept getting bigger and bigger, I was like, I'm digging this, man. I was like, I'm really feeling like what this guy's laying down, because before that it felt very like I've seen people have some social commentary before, and from 1967 this really won't do me any good because I am 6 years in the future. So to see kind of what a gentleman was thinking about at that time about where society was going, like I know where it went. So like I don't know if this is really going to blow my mind, and that's where I really think that it picks up towards the end of it. And I think once you see the whole film, there's more of an appreciation for what happened in the beginning. Yeah, you know. But no, I both movies. I think we were texting back and forth about being short, and really both of them don't have much stories going on. Yeah, one of them is just a steaming pile of cow dung or poo poo. The other one has a lot to offer in terms of what is being put on screen. So while there is no story, there is a lot to take away. So yeah, that's probably I'm good on talking about it.
I think I am too. Yeah, guys, check this out. It's available to rent. It's also on YouTube. So really no excuse. It's on Criterion Collection. I could see myself picking this up. If I'm like in Barnes & Noble and it's on sale, you know, it's got that half off thing going on, I'm like, yeah, I might snag a little Playtime.
Yeah, for $8 or something like that, for sure.
That's usually $25. Because the
half off?
Criterion goes for $50. So
Jesus.
I know. Why do you think I don't have that many of them?
Yeah, no, that makes sense. I mean, I'm like $25. I don't.
Yeah,
I'd rather just you go watch it, and then we'll talk about it, because I got it up here.
right. It's in the place that it matters.
Yeah,
My hippocampus.
yeah.
So yeah, let's get into ratings. What would you
Okay.
give Playtime?
So, once again, I've sit there. We probably dance around it with like it's hot and cold. It's like what's going on at the beginning of this thing. I was not really thoroughly engaged. And once I kind of was out on, hey, this is going to be a little satirical or some sort of comedy, and it's like Mr. Bean before he's Mr. Bean, not really getting it. And then the restaurant scene hits, and it really picks up, and all of a sudden I'm starting to pay attention to everything else that's going on, and there's this huge appreciation for like just how arduous this must have been to put this together. Kind of, and I'm, it feels a little bit about poking fun at the wealth and status, with this restaurant, and it's just it felt like the restaurant had so much going on. So today, I was driving to work, and I'm thinking about the movie now, and I'm like, God damn it! Like, did I like this thing? Like, I don't know where I sit at, and I said, you know what this is to me? This is like Stalker.
Yeah.
And Stalker is of a different vein in terms of like some of the questions that it posed, right? But in the sense of watching it and just having a genuine appreciation for what was put on film and for being of the time, and what it was very bold, and to me, I'll say this is daring, right? It gave me that much more of appreciation. And the restaurant scene, I am almost of the ilk that if there was a restaurant like that, I would check that one out. Mm-hmm. Like if wealth and status wasn't like that big of a deal,
Right.
So I don't think I'm getting in, but I was like, that was such enough of a fun time for me that the whole movie now feels like that. When I think about that, going back to the beginning, like I mentioned, that now all of a sudden all of it feels fun, right? Mm-hmm. And having the conversation with it is great. I don't think I'm gonna be able to bump it past what I have it at, but it is like a firmly rooted 8 out of 10.
I think I'm, we're kind of like ratings buddies in this episode. I think.
Yeah.
I think we're riding the same boat towards the the same horizon.
Yeah.
No, I'm glad I recommended this. I feel like we got more of a discussion out of this than I expected to. Honestly,
Same.
I'm glad with how this went, and it's one of those movies that I will just, if I meet someone and they are into the idea of film and filmmaking, definitely will recommend this to them. I think they would get some value out of it. But, this is one of those things where there is a ceiling for me. Yes. I think that kind of like you, there is a certain threshold that I would be remiss to see myself breaking past. I did initially have this at a 7.
Wow.
But I really think this discussion helped illuminate a lot of the value that this movie kind of brings to the table, not just in terms of filmmaking, but just like in art in general. Mm-hmm. And so for me, this is a low 8 out of 10.
Nice.
I think that one of those things where there is rewatchability, but I am not eager to revisit simply because I feel like this movie too is just dependent on the conditions and the sort of like mindset you find yourself in.
Yes.
If you're just like a little bit sleepy, or you're dealing with something, throwing this movie on might be a tough ask.
There are movies that can be good and be slogs. I mean, like Stalker was like that for me. I think I had to chunk that one out, or it was two different.
I love that movie. I have not been that excited to revisit it.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Like this one, I feel like it's in the same boat. I will say though, unlike Stalker, because that is more of a narrative, and you want to kind of keep up with like a lot of the milestones that are being hit or points that were reached and discussions. This one, I feel like I could turn on the restaurant scene and just watch that.
Yeah.
Like I don't know why I love it so much. I think it's just that general appreciation for how much effort was put in, and for it to look that good.
Yeah, it's the movie firing on all cylinders.
Yes, and it felt too with the satire going on that it really took off. Where I felt much more of the comedy behind it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, I'm with you. I mean, it's not like one that I'm going to be running out to be like, oh, I need to check that out again. But yeah, it was very glad it's in the noggin.
Nice.
Yeah.
So I have a question that we can answer. Otherwise, it is hot as fuck in here. If you want to give a recommendation, we can just ski dankle. I can save this for next time. It's a question that I feel like could maybe get into a bit of a discussion, but maybe like a 10-minute thing.
Oh, okay.
So, do you want me to just fire it off?
Yeah, we'll do 10 more minutes, and then we'll see if it takes time. Maybe it's like 3.
Okay. If it doesn't, I can always cut it out.
Sure.
Who's a director you haven't covered before that you would like to?
Oh, come on. I don't. Wow.
Is this one that I'm cutting? Because I can think of one at least.
Who's a director that we've talked about that we haven't really covered?
That we know of that has a presence in filmmaking that we just haven't talked about one of their movies officially.
See, that's what I'm saying. Like, I have such a hard time. Oh.
Because there's one that immediately pops to mind that I'm surprised neither of us have recommended. Gaspar Noé.
See, I get him mixed up with the other one.
Lars von Trier.
Yeah. Because don't they both have some unique takes on.
They're both very, for lack of a better word, transgressive filmmakers.
Yeah, is that what the phrase is?
Yeah, they like pushing boundaries.
Let me see, because I think I've actually seen. Like, that's the other thing too. Like, I think I've seen some of his. Nope. I've heard of but that's all. I'm not going to recommend his stuff.
I probably will recommend one of his movies one day.
It'll be great. Yeah, I'm looking forward to that. Let's do Into the Void. No, because I'm very familiar with him. The name, kind of like we said, transgender in terms of the filmmaking style.
Transgressive,
transgender. Yikes!
I mean, maybe he includes some transgender individuals in his cast.
I don't know. Yeah, that was.
It's okay. It's for the record, people. We cannot specify enough how fucking hot it is
really
in this room right now.
It really just cranked up in the last half hour too.
It's insane how just immediately caked in sweat we both became talking about the restaurant scene in Playtime. Like,
yes,
it's.
I feel like I'm one of those waiters.
Damn near unbearable. Yeah. When they had like the AC troubles in that movie, I was like, this is the most I've been able to relate to this film so far. Like, incredible how immersive the experience immediately became.
Really feel like you're rooted in there.
Holy shit.
No, I don't. Like I said, I'd have to think about it. I don't have one off the top of my head where it's
maybe something to revisit another time.
Yeah, because and even so, I mean, I'd have to you'd have to prep me before we come in here so I could talk about it. I cannot just off the top of my head be like, oh, that's a guy that we've never even talked about. I mean,
right. Tough ass to put you in the literal hot seat and make you think of, hey, this is maybe something we could do. I don't know.
Well, and it's, I feel like we've covered a lot of different directors. Like we did
we have done a lot.
Like the letterboxing that you did. I'm like, the highest one we had was a guy like 4 movies maybe. Tarantino had 5 on there. Like it was.
I can check. I don't think we've done 5 Tarantino. I think a big one for us was Ridley Scott.
Yes, he was on there.
And then I think David Fincher also was maybe the
4
second one. So I'm on Letterboxd right now. I'm about to pull up the stats for our list of movies that we've covered on the show. Let me get into this. Stats, here we go. Which, guys, if you want to check this out, there's a link in the description. So you can click on that and check out our stats on movies we've talked about. So for directors, we've covered 6 Ridley Scott films, 5 Steven Spielberg.
There we are.
5 PTA.
Okay.
4 Christopher Nolan. 4 Francis Ford Coppola. 3 Godfather films and Dracula. 4 Chad Stahelski, because we've covered all the John Wick films.
Thank you, Kyle.
You're welcome. 4 Sam Raimi with Spider-Man and Doctor Strange. 4 John Carpenter movies, because he feels very Neon Crew coded.
Yes.
4 Michael Mann films, and then 3 Tarantino.
Puts us around probably 40.
I'm surprised that...
But we've done like 300 movies.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? So that's a lot of directors out there where we've probably covered one of their films. So that's why, like, when you talk about it, it's like, are we talking like a line of work? Like, because we've like Ridley Scott, and even then we've only probably tapped into it, or Spielberg.
Right, where we like those guys who just have like the large filmographies, we've barely kind of scratched the surface.
Yeah, like Spielberg's made like what, 20-25 movies.
Yeah, we haven't even like really kind of delved too deep into Scorsese, who didn't even pop up on the immediate list that was on there.
And I don't know how many, like, we've done 1 of his, maybe 2.
We've done 2.
Taxi Driver.
We've done at least 2. Taxi Driver and Killers of the Flower Moon.
Yeah, that's right. That might be it, though.
I think that might be it.
Done Goodfellas, or we've done Mean Streets,
Goodfellas,
or The Departed.
I'm kind of almost saving
Gangs of New York. Never, we did do that one.
No, we haven't. We did There Will Be Blood. That's the other Daniel Day-Lewis mustache movie. I'm kind of saving Goodfellas for if and when Drew ever wants to be a guest, because Scorsese is his guy, and that's one of his favorite movies.
Oh, yeah.
So really just kind of like holding that off as a teaser for people, hopefully, in the future, if you want to hear about my boy Drew. It's, you'd be remiss to think of a director we haven't covered in any way. Like, famous big movie directors.
Yeah.
Like, we've done Wes Anderson, Spielberg, obviously, Ridley Scott. It's almost a challenge in a way to find one we haven't covered.
Yeah, that's why I guess put on the spot with it is like it's difficult to find one that we haven't done any. So
yeah. So there you have it. It's getting hard to breathe, and we need to recommend a movie.
Yeah,
so McLean, what do you recommend for our episode?
I'm forecasting that we're probably going to talk The Odyssey when it comes out.
Probably The Odyssey comes out on...
It's 7/17, so that is going to be an episode after mine, or after this one with the recommendation.
I think that's the safe route to go, because otherwise we'd have to immediately see it and then record, and that's a tough thing.
That's why. So what I am thinking is that with Independence Day coming up on the 4th of July,
which this episode will come out on the 5th of July, by the way. This one right now.
This one that we're doing right now. Oh, perfect. Yes. Okay. So I have a recommendation, but I think we could do a two-parter.
Okay.
And my recommendation is different than the one that I just thought I was thinking about, but I think it pairs well. Maybe not pairs well with it, but it's got the Independence theme. It's a movie you haven't seen.
Okay.
Do you know what it is?
I was getting a little scared and thinking you were going to recommend Independence Day.
That is what I think we should pair this movie with.
Okay.
Because I don't know if I'm.
Are you going to say Born on the 4th of July with Tom Cruise?
No. This one's much more fun. And little story behind this: me and my brother and his extended family. I get through his wife. We have our own kind of like movies that we say, hey, for this month you got to see this movie. Mm-hmm. And
you've talked about this before. You're kind of like group chat movie club.
Yeah, popcorn pals.
Yeah.
And so the next one came out with the recommendation. It falls within the kind of the theme of the is it quintennial? And
yeah, I think so. Maybe, I don't know.
I don't know what
my brain's cooked right now.
Yeah,
so you could say any word, and I would probably believe it's a real word.
The instantennial. That was a made up word. Maybe not.
Yeah.
He put this one out there, so I told him, I was like, I'm gonna double dip. Like I'm gonna put this out there. Love this movie. Obviously never discussed it, but I don't know if you've seen it or not. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Very Kyle Dad type vibe movie. All right. Machismo, but it is a history flick. Do you have any idea what this could be?
Is it a Spielberg?
Nope.
Okay. I have no clue.
Okay.
Honestly.
Mel Gibson stars and directs.
Are you going to recommend Braveheart?
Nope. You have no idea?
Is it The Patriot? You're recommending the movie The Patriot.
The Patriot.
Interesting. Okay. I feel like I was thinking about this movie semi-recently.
Really?
I did not know Roland Emmerich directed this.
He didn't do Independence Day, did he?
Yes, he did.
No fucking way.
Yes, fucking way.
Oh! Oh, spectacular. Oh, he also directed Moonfall. Fuck you.
Roland Emmerich is about to shoot up on our stats, just so you guys know.
I would also say, oh my God, he is going to... He'll pop. He wasn't bad in the 90s. I remember when I was talking, I was so mad watching Moonfall. I was like just doing blow on a cruise ship with a bunch of chicks in bikinis. And you were like, I think he's like a homosexual.
He is homosexual.
And I was like, well, freaking then guys in thongs. It's like so mad at him.
You had to readjust in the analogy.
My hate, my freaking spite just did not go away from how just mad I was at him. Like I couldn't be like, oh, okay, well, then he's fine dining at some cuisine restaurant, But anyways, yeah, I think those would pair up well, and they're easy to knock down, and with the heat wave and stuff going on.
Yeah.
And I don't even know if there's really any good movies that are out right now. Like the ones that you talked about too, I haven't Toy Story 5 would be it, and I'm fine with waiting until that's streaming to see it.
Yeah, I don't know about you, but I'm not the most eager to go check out Supergirl, especially after the initial reception.
I've been listening, so a couple other audio pieces that I listen to have not been. It's not like I haven't heard anyone say it's bad.
No, it's not like Morbius piece of shit level.
Right, I just heard it's not good.
Right,
and it's got a 54 on Rotten Tomatoes, so I'm like.
I'm almost like if it was like Madam Web levels of bad, I think I would be more intrigued to see it.
Yeah.
Because at that point I'm just like, well, I gotta see the train wreck. And when a movie like that comes out and it like almost makes no impression because of how middle of the road it is, it's like I feel like this is going to be a pill for me to swallow.
It's like a Suicide Squad, and that might be dog shit. Not the newest one, but the older one.
Yeah.
Yeah, those middle of the road movies that are like, it's just not good. No one really, like 50-50 is not a good thing on Rotten Tomatoes.
Yeah.
Like that's literally at 1 out of every 2 people.
It's like, I'm almost more hesitant to watch a movie like that than like a 10%er,
Well, yeah, but like you said, Madam Web or Morbius or whatever, you can really go like, well, if I just want to be a negative and critique the shit out of this, like I'll have fun doing it. Mm-hmm. And if I just want to watch this and see how bad it is, I'll have fun doing that. Craven's one that it's like, boy, that wasn't like, it's not good, but it's not like insanely bad.
I think fondly of our Craven discussion.
We got both pretty. I was pretty pissed with it.
Yeah, I was more just like, what are we doing? Like, come on.
That's what I'm saying. That's middle. I mean, and Supergirl's probably gonna be better than that. But I have no interest in that one, and I don't know how much the marketing and stuff with it too. Like, I didn't know it was coming out.
Yeah,
I think it was about 2 weeks ago, and I was like, "Oh, that movie's happening quick." I was thinking like it was August or September release date.
There was like a weird thing happening where there was this sort of perception of it being like the first big summer blockbuster before Odyssey comes out, and I feel like because the response has been so tepid and because the marketing has made it look so generic, people's interests have just fucking like flatlined.
Oh yeah.
So it's based on I don't want to talk too much about Supergirl, but it's based on a graphic novel called Supergirl Woman of Tomorrow. And if you look at any given panel of that comic book, it is one of the most colorful, like artfully done, kind of gorgeous comic books that I've come across.
Yeah.
Like I actually went to a comic store and I flipped through the pages and I'm like, wow, this looks great.
Yeah.
You watch the trailer for this, it's the most dirty, muddy ass, like brown looking thing.
Yeah.
Which is kind of crazy since, I mean, I know James Gunn didn't direct it. It was Craig Gillespie, but James Gunn is known for like pushing forward the very kind of vibrant visuals of superhero movies and like establishing that as a thing that is possible. And it's just surprising to me that he's a producer on this movie that just looks like Fallout 3. Like just brown and like gray as shit.
Yeah, I don't, because I'm only going off of her personality from the Superman movie. Mm-hmm. And I'm wondering if they're trying to get like the punk rock ethos or the blue collar work, because she feels very chip on her shoulder in that movie.
I think maybe the goal of it was we're just going to kind of visually represent how messy this is as a character through her and the environment. And it just kind of comes across as like this is kind of tried already.
Yeah.
Like, what are we doing? But I'll probably check it out. I can report back next episode.
Sure.
Give my thoughts on it. But that's it. That's a wrap.
That's it. That's
much like the end of Minions and Monsters.
Yeah, if we found out, we'd be filming ourselves doing the podcast.
Yeah, like I reattach my severed head.
Yep.
And I high five you as we walk out, going, "Oh man, we had so much fun filming that scene, right, where you farted in my mouth and I threw up in your butt."
Nice.
Clear parallels.
Yes.
There. McLean, anything to add to the mise en scène of this episode?
To everyone sweltering in the sweltering heat out there.
Drink plenty of water.
Yeah. WWTHD.
What he would do is drink water. Bye, everyone. The Neon Crew podcast is hosted by Kyle Yates and McLean Parker. Kyle, who is myself, also helps to produce, edit, and upload every episode. Our music was composed by Gideon Hunter. Our artwork was created by Lauren Hunter. Thank you so much for listening to our show. Episodes get scheduled to release every 2 weeks. You can find us on YouTube, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. Follow us on various social media platforms such as Facebook, Instagram, and our YouTube community page for updates and information on upcoming episodes. Want to join the Neon Mafia? Head over to our shop page at etsy.com/shop/the Neon Crew podcast for some quality, comfortable merch.